to another episode of Drunk Wrestling History. As you might notice, I am not your designated host, Adam, and we'll tell you why in a second. My name is Carissa, and I am the wife, and with me as a co-host is the other wife, Shannon.
Hello.
And we are here because we are doing the San Diego experiment.
And experience.
All of it. And the reason for that is we're in San Diego. We're on vacation for the holidays. So we're glad for you to join us here. And like I said, we are not your designated host, Adam. And we are also not your designated host because Shannon and I both drink. So we're excited to see how much of a shit show this becomes as all of us drink. And to start that off, what are we all drinking tonight, guys?
I'm drinking the El Segundo Brewery
Oh, I
Stone
didn't
Cold.
I'm sorry.
I know, so rude.
I am so rude. Who also do we have here?
It's Eddie. It's Ghetto Blaster Time, fools.
And this is Scott.
And what are you guys drinking?
I'm glad you asked. I'm drinking the El Segundo Brewing Company Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA. I made sure to get a can of it because you can't get it up north where we live, but down here you can find it everywhere.
Excellent.
And I am doing a Crown on the Rocks with a Pepsi Chaser.
Cheers, Shannon.
And I'm drinking a 3-hour Old Manhattan because
Because you keep it classy AF.
We got it
And Ed, what does AF stand for?
As fuck.
Thank you.
out of a plastic cup, by the way, which I'm also drinking some red wine out of a plastic cup that we got to go from the bar. And then I'm going to move on to my very classy Prosecco.
Extremely classy.
Yes.
That's how we keep it, folks.
And
Should we do a cheers?
And I might step away for a shot of Crown. Cheers.
Might.
Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers.
And in case you're wondering, on tonight's show, since this will be dropping on New Year's Eve, very excited about it because we will be out drinking, of course. We are going to be doing Decade in Review, and a lot of shit went down.
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty big podcast. I think this would be probably like a record-breaking length.
There's a lot to go over, you guys. Yeah.
That's what she said. But yeah, there's a lot to cover. So let's jump into it. And there's our blankets.
Okay, so we're in the room, and Scott called for extra. He's called for extra blankets, and we knew the timing was going to work out this way. I was like, dude, seriously, you're calling right now? We're about to start recording.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
it is what it is, right?
And now they will be warm enough when they sleep tonight.
They were going to be drunk. They were going to be fine anyway.
Got the
Because
blanket.
it's like 50 and we're like freezing.
And he's like
I'll
50.
bring it up.
But guess what the temperature in the room is, guys?
It's
Oh,
69
dear God.
because we keep it classy.
That's not even classy. That's just stupid.
Anyway,
All right,
Decade in
shall we-
Review.
Shall we dive right in?
Let's get going.
Okay, so let's start with some wrestlers that I think had their moment in the last decade. Just dive right in. Dan O'Brien, guys?
Yeah, Dan O'Brien. So he would have. Did he come up to the main roster in 2010? It would have been like right at the beginning of the decade, right?
Yeah, it was
right
2010.
after 20.
He came in the Nexus. So it
After
was 2010.
26.
Yep.
Right. I measure time by WrestleManias. I always remember, like, literally everything in my life I remember by when you guys got married because you got married right before 25.
Correct.
I can
And-
vouch for this.
right,
And
and
it's
I-
very annoying.
Right. Yeah. And I know how old Peyton is because of WrestleMania. Like, literally everything in my life, I know when it happened relative to which WrestleMania. So Dan O'Brien would have come after 26 because I know he
Yes.
was at 27. That would have been June-ish,
Yep.
I guess, with the Nexus.
Yes.
And that was crazy because nobody watched NXT, right? Like 6 people watched it, I think. when it was like-
NXT was not what it is today.
no,
it was
no.
completely different.
Well, it was like a game show.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't think anybody knew anybody who was on the show or anything, and suddenly these guys come and just wreck the whole place.
Yeah, it was completely unexpected. It
Yeah,
was
it was
just
awesome.
a standard Raw match, and all of a sudden, these 6 or 7 guys just run down to the ring, lay waste to everybody. Daniel Bryan is choking a dude with a tie, got fired, and then was brought back after he hit the indie scene. And I don't know that anybody had a stronger decade. Had he not gone down with injury, I think Daniel Bryan would have had the best decade of anyone.
But I think that that's part of why this is his decade. Like, to come back from that injury. I mean, nobody
True.
does that, you know?
Yeah.
Just the way he recovered.
Yeah, in a way, it almost made him a bigger deal
Yeah.
to go
True.
down with that bad of an injury and come back from it.
That is true. That is very true. But I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, WrestleMania 30 for him. That's what you dream of as a little kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's as good as it gets.
To get that moment, that
Yeah.
might be moment of the decade. And if you were to say that, I wouldn't argue with anybody that stated that.
Right. Yeah, and he by far obviously had the best career out of anyone in the Nexus. Even
Yeah.
better than Ryback.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
You think better than Ryback?
I mean, it's close to be
It's
honest.
close, yeah.
who
Ryback's
else-
doing so much now.
Who else was it? Darren Young's. They're all gone. The only other one who's left is what's his name with the kids?
Oh, Heath Slater.
Heath Slater. He's the
Yes.
only one that's left because Titus was not in it. Right? Titus was in the second season of NXT.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking Michael Tarver. He was
Tarver.
in the Nexus. Yeah.
Right.
And then you've got Wade Barrett in NWA now. He just
Oh,
came
yeah, I
back.
was just going to say, who was their leader?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was Barrett. Yeah.
And that was who I thought was going to be the guy.
Well, he was for a minute, and then just injuries derailed his career. Yeah, he was like this decade's version of Ahmed Johnson, I guess. He was like
Oh my-
constantly injured and was slated for a big push, but just got derailed by injury.
Well, he was Ahmed Johnson with talent.
Yes. Sorry, Wade Barrett, if you're listening. Didn't mean to insult you.
How dare you? But yeah, so Brian did that, and then he came back. Well, he went out right after 30, then he came back at 31.
Right.
Right, he had that ladder match,
Yeah, won the IC title.
right? And then boom, he was gone again.
Yes.
And that was it.
Yep.
And
And,
then-
then just recently came back, had
Yeah.
the nice heel run.
Right.
Ending the decade strong. He's in a feud with the Fiend right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Daniel Bryan, man.
Yeah.
Strong decade for him.
I thought actually I want to say it would be SummerSlam 2013 through WrestleMania 30 was probably the best 6 or 8 months anybody had.
Agree.
But maybe Becky. Becky might be kind of right there, like from last fall through WrestleMania
Yeah.
last year.
Becky Lynch definitely is another one that didn't exactly have the best start to the decade.
Yeah.
She was, I would say, the weaker of the women that came. We'll get into the women's revolution later in the show. But out of the women that came up, I think she was the one that was at the bottom of that list of who was supposed to succeed. But now, just changed the game.
Right, totally. Yeah, and you're right. We'll get to that later.
Also, on a personal note, Daniel Bryan married a Bella and had an adorable daughter.
Aww.
And they just got a new dog.
And they did just get a new dog. Her name is Penelope. They got it for Christmas. Because I follow that kind of thing.
We love dogs on the show.
That's the kind of wrestling you want to see.
And speaking of other people that did take over the Nexus later was CM Punk. He was in charge. He
was.
in charge
You're
of the
right.
He
Nexus.
did. He
Yeah.
did. Yeah. He
At
took
a
over.
later point.
Yeah, he would have taken over. I want to say after Survivor Series, maybe. Something
yeah,
like that.
sounds right.
Isn't
'cause-
that when, or maybe after TLC, because that was when John Cena killed Wade Barrett with like 2,000 chairs. Remember
Oh
he pulled
my
all the
gosh.
chairs,
Yes.
and we thought we'd never see him again.
Yeah, I thought he was done for.
Right. So I think Punk took over maybe right after that. I think maybe he'd been like excommunicated because he went and started the core.
Right,
And
right.
then Punk took it over, but and then he went into that Rumble 2011, which is one of my favorite Rumbles of all time because that was when he and the Nexus just ran the whole
Yes.
for like 20 minutes.
That's
Like, everybody
right.
who came in got tossed
Dun-
immediately.
yeah, dumped.
And Punk barely even did anything. He was just laughing about it the whole time.
Yeah. Like
It was
sitting in
amazing.
the corner just laughing.
Yeah. But I loved Punk. When he first came up there, it was like there was so much hype behind him. I was just like, this guy's okay. You know, when he was in ECW,
Yeah.
I wasn't that impressed. When I really started to get into it was when he started doing the Straight Edge Society.
That was good
He
stuff.
started having people shave their heads, and
Yes.
he put the stigmata on his hands. I
Yep.
was like, this guy's fucked up.
Yeah.
Didn't one
Yeah.
of those chicks in his Straight Edge Society get kicked out for drinking in real life?
Yeah, someone spotted her at a bar.
Yeah, no. For
And that's why she got bumped?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she fucked up the gimmick.
'cause
Serena
it was him,
Deeb.
it was-
Serena.
Yes, it was him and that dude and that chick and that.
Yeah,
chick.
Luke Gallows.
No, she
Yeah.
got. Oh, that was Luke Gallows.
Yeah.
Oh no
Yeah.
way. No, she got booted for getting caught in a bar in real life.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
An idiot, right?
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was
Considering
amazing.
you met Liv Morgan in a bar in New Orleans a couple years ago.
I did.
And she's still working.
Well, but Liv Morgan
That's
didn't have
true.
it. But Liv Morgan didn't have a straight edge gimmick.
Yeah, good point.
No, that, yeah,
Are
that's
you missing the
of
point
that,
here?
yeah.
I guess I missed the point.
Try-
but
try
how
to-
stupid. Like you're
try to
supposed to
keep
live
up,
your
Scott.
gimmick in 2008, whatever that was.
I mean that gimmick, I guess.
I mean, I thought it was harsh,
Way harsh.
but
Way
like
harsh.
she wasn't. How important was she? You know what I mean? She was expendable.
Well, at least she didn't steal from a Walmart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Who did that? I forgot about. I forgot.
That was,
like Mickey James or something.
No.
Or-
Oh,
She stole like a phone case,
Winona
right?
Ryder.
Yeah, no, it was Emelina.
Emelina, yeah, she stole like
Yeah.
a phone case,
Yeah.
right?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, Emma.
Is
Emma.
that why they changed her gimmick back and we're like totally
No,
crossed?
I
No,
don't
this
know
was
what-
before the
Oh, 'cause
Emelina
I
thing
think that
kicked
should be in
in.
decade of review too, because this is fucking ridiculous.
Oh gosh, yeah. Fired for stealing a phone case from a Walmart.
No,
or
but
maybe
I
she
mean,
Emma-
did.
even like advertising her for 10 months and then bringing her out and immediately saying, "Now watch my transformation back
Yeah.
to Emma."
No, I'm gonna go back
Like,
to
what
Emma.
the hell am I watching right now?
It was bad. It was so
bad.
Yeah, yeah. Almost as bad as Sasha's constant start-stops. But
Don't get me started.
right,
Or stopped.
right.
Yeah, Punk. The Strategy Society thing was great, and then obviously the pipe bomb promo. That's got to be the promo of the decade, right?
There's no doubt about
That
it.
might be the best promo of all time.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
if
Hard
not,
Times-
it's top 3. Hard Times, right?
And I don't think Hard Times even compares to it, though. To be
No,
honest.
because there was such a sense of realism to
Yeah.
it, and really pulling back the curtain and drawing all that frustration that not only CM Punk felt, but all the fans as well.
Right.
And he was feeding into that. The kicker was you knew his contract was coming up, and you're
Right.
like, why are they giving this dude a live mic to go out and say this?
Yeah.
And it really built the suspense to that match with Cena. Like you really didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
I didn't totally buy into the pipe bomb promo itself. Like I was like, I knew they could just cut his mic or send someone out to get him. You know, like they could send Kane out to take him off the stage, like he did to Mr. T at the Hall of Fame.
Right, or the APA
Which-
to take him out like
Which,
he...
like they did the Public Enemy.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I can't believe on our celebrities episode we did not talk about Mr. T's Hall of Fame speech.
Oh, he loves his mama.
And we've been hit up on Twitter with people saying you need to do a sequel.
Yes.
Because they love the celebrities episode.
Which would be all Mr. T.
Maybe we should just do a 205 Jive on Mr. T's Hall of Fame speech.
I would love it.
I'll memorize it.
I think there will definitely be a sequel to the celebrities episode.
For sure.
Yeah.
We've thought of many since then. So
Yeah, there's a
if
lot.
you have any other ideas, please send them in.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I knew what was going on when he did the promo, but I totally thought, I mean, when he beat Cena, I did not see that coming.
Right.
And I was convinced that he did not have a new contract. I was like, I guess they're going to try and sign him to a new contract now. Like, I know the plan was for him to beat him. He didn't like just go into business for himself. But I totally did not think that he had signed a new contract at that
Right.
point. I mean, so I was like, I didn't know what was going on. It was great. I mean,
And
that was
the fun of it too.
yeah. That was like the last thing they played off, I think, that well. And I think it was the first thing they played off that well. And fuck, since Stone Cold went to Pillman's house, maybe.
Yeah, right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, or at least when Randy Orton and Triple H were doing that feud for I forget which WrestleMania it was.
25.
Where he went to Triple H's house or something and like got all crazy with it.
Yeah, but then they ruined that at the end of that segment when Triple H threw Randy Orton through the living room window,
Yes.
and there was a camera outside trained on that window.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just
Like
that's
you just killed it.
that's that WWE thing. Then, and we'll get into this more at some point.
For sure.
But I fucking hate that. It's my least favorite thing about WWE.
It takes you out of it because you're expected to believe that it's happening, but then they've got cameras trained in the exact right spot at the exact right time. And you're like,
Right.
come on, man.
Right, there's a camera inside Rowan's fucking rat cage.
Yeah.
You know,
You're like, I'm
supposed
trying to play along with you guys here,
Yeah,
but come on.
Yeah, work with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a Kevin Dunn thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe that everyone says Vince should go. Maybe fucking Kevin Dunn should go.
Yeah, let's try that first.
Yeah, but anyway, Punk was great. Sucked that he left.
No, it really does. And that, man, you think of what could have been. Like, would plans have changed for WrestleMania 30? What would Punk be doing in 2019 that would build on what he was doing earlier on in the decade? I think that the pipe bomb is the biggest thing Punk ever did in his career.
Yeah.
And even if he did come back and have some sort of WrestleMania moment, I think it's going to pale in comparison to that moment because I agree with you that is in like a top 3 of interviews ever, hands down, definitely one of the best promos.
Totally.
One of my favorite weird things about him is when he just sat down cross-legged, and maybe someone else did this before him, but like every time Aleister Black does it now, I'm just like, that's so CM Punk.
You think CM Punk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
agree.
Yeah. And he came out during the pipe bomb promo. He was wearing a Stone Cold shirt, which was
Yes.
just so
Yeah.
wet. You know, it was just
Yep. And mention Colt Cabana.
yeah. Mention Cabana. Yeah.
People do that now. Like, I feel like people wear other people's shirts. Like, did he start that? Like, Doesn't like
He had to have been the
Alexa-
first.
I feel like some chick does that a lot.
I've seen Sasha
someone
like in,
maybe Sasha?
but not so much when they're on their way to the ring. But you see Sasha like in an Eddie Guerrero jacket or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Rowan wears like heavy metal t-shirts,
Oh yeah, I know that.
which is awesome.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Eddie looks up every band. He's like, "What band's he wearing this week?" Well, not anymore.
Oh
but
yeah,
he
yeah.
used
There's
to.
a there's a database. Like someone made a website and they update it every week with what shirt Eric Rowan wore on TV this week.
Really?
Like what band? Yeah, I've
Oh,
actually
that's
found
awesome.
I've found some cool bands that way actually.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My wife has something to add.
Go
Hold on,
beau-
she's finishing
go
the
beautiful
cherry.
Shannon. So she just took the
Okay,
cherry
this
out
isn't
of her
wrestling
plastic cup.
related, but M Shadows was wearing a ghost shirt. And I literally went upstairs and told Scott I shit my pants. Because
You
M
told him you
Shadows-
shit your pants?
She did because
Dude, I
Peyton
totally
asked her. She was
almost-
like, "Mommy, are you kidding?"
And I was like,
Did you shit
"No,
your pants?
I literally shit my pants. Because
You Manunos your pants?
Dude, I totally did.
You took
Matunos.
literally-
Matunos? You did a Matunos?
I did. Because M Shadows from
We're all
Avenged
idiots.
Sevenfold was wearing a ghost shirt.
Because everybody
I died.
loves Ghost.
I died.
It's a scientific fact. Everybody loves Ghost.
Wife Shannon loves Ghost.
I love
Also,
Ghost.
Aleister Black. And
I fucking love Aleister
Yeah.
Black. That's why I
that's
love
her
him.
favorite.
That's my favorite.
He's the best thing that's happened to you in the last
I have an
decade.
Aleister Black
Yeah,
in my
that,
purse.
that is the best thing that's happened to you in the last decade. Aleister Black, maybe.
Cheers.
Actually, maybe Ghost is the best thing that happened to Shannon. It was A7X, Avenged Sevenfold, but I think that they've been trumped
By
by
Ghost.
Ghost.
So that's not wrestling, so let's go.
Well, we got on the subject of metal. You brought something valid,
I love
We're
Aleister
good.
Black.
Good.
and you look beautiful, by the way. Very, very pretty. I love your new hairstyle. That's for the record on a podcast. And I'm being flipped off. You can hear her covering my mouth with her middle finger.
He was very rude about her cutting her hair.
Quite rude.
So, you guys, the Shield.
The Shield fucking ruled.
They
I'll
did.
just say that. I loved the Shield. The Shield might... No, they're not my favorite thing the last decade, but I love the Shield.
Look what they produced.
Yeah, I mean, like, right, you got... So, they've got to be the only faction who's had 100% world champions, right?
Oh man, yeah. Billy Gunn
Right?
and Road Dogg were never world champions.
No.
So yeah. Evolution had Batista.
Oh, Batista. Okay,
So
yeah,
Evolution had all
Okay,
world
okay.
champions.
Yeah, but to be fair, two of them had been world champion before they were in Evolution, right? Flair and Triple H,
Yes.
right?
That
so they
is
came
correct.
in. Yeah,
yes.
they came in as former champions.
Yes.
But no one's ever started. I don't think I've ever seen anyone start out that hot.
The three
first of
original
all.
NWO members, Hall, Nash, and Hogan,
Yeah, but-
all won world titles after they formed the NWO. But for three fresh faces to be brought in,
Right, Hogan at that point had been like 5 or 6 time champion in WWE.
and in WCW, I think too.
I
By the
don't
time
know.
they finally formed it, but
Yeah.
to bring in three fresh faces and start to build your promotion around those three guys, incredible what the Shield accomplished this
Yeah.
decade. And they didn't even come in until what 2013, late 2012, something like that.
Yeah, I think
I think it was late
2012. Yeah, because their first WrestleMania was 29,
Yes,
right, which was
that's right.
2013.
Yep.
Measuring time by WrestleManias.
It's science, folks. It's like Fred Flintstone using the sun to tell time. This man tells years by WrestleMania.
Exactly.
It's a talent.
Did you know that they were supposed to come in with shields?
I did not
What?
know that, but I
Like
did know
actual
that Chris
shields?
Hero was supposed to be Roman
Roman,
Reigns.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
Wait,
Roman
they're
Reigns.
supposed to be like actual superheroes?
Like,
No, like shields, like
Yeah.
riot shields.
oh, I was thinking like Captain America.
No, like riot
Oh.
shields, like
Oh,
the
yeah, I
cops
was
would have.
thinking-
Oh, that makes way
Yeah.
more sense.
Too.
No, that was
Right.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
wait, Chris Hero was supposed to be?
Chris Hero was
who
supposed-
Chris Hero?
Cassius Ohno. He's the dude who got fired from NXT for being
Wait, why do I
fat.
know that guy? Oh,
NXT.
yeah.
Because you photobombed my picture with him on Bourbon Street.
That's my favorite picture of us, baby.
It's my favorite picture of us too. Yes, I think it's also Chris Hero's favorite picture of the two of us.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yes.
it is.
It absolutely
Which
is.
I'm a big Chris Hero fan,
Oh, we
but
should post that. That's an amazing
Yes.
Yep.
picture.
it really is. So
Yeah.
please
it.
give me a
I
reminder,
know.
and I will
Right now.
post it
That
up
is
on.
my favorite picture.
Post it right now.
It's wonderful. But yeah, that's incredible to think that Cassius Ohno almost had that spot in the Shield. The
That
guy
is
who's like
Really?
the
How
guy
do you
that's
know
main evented
that?
how many WrestleManias?
How do you know that?
I don't know.
It's just one of those things,
It's
you
just
know, just like we've
wrestling
I don't know.
knowledge.
Whose spot was he supposed
We
to
drink and we know
Romans.
things.
He was supposed to be Roman's spot.
God,
Yeah.
Roman?
Yeah, could you imagine the guy
No,
that's main
I
evented
drink
how
and
many?
I know things.
Yeah.
If only he could stay away from pyology.
It's incredible pizza.
Dude,
I can't blame the
biology's
man.
hella good.
Biology is hella good.
We had biology tonight.
So you know your husband got the last deep dish pizza.
Nice.
Ordered it right in front of me, and I went to order one, and she's like, "I'm sorry, we're out." And I look up, and it did say on the thing, limited
Oh,
quantities
he did
available.
that.
Suck
in
it.
He did that in New York too. We like took an Uber to New York to get like pizza.
Wait,
And
that's a thing?
We just wanted
Yeah.
some food, and he got.
I bought the
I
whole-
just wanted like a slice, and he bought it the whole pizza. And like I swear to
Aw.
God, the people right behind us were.
There were like 10 people in line behind me.
sweet.
Yeah, no,
Hey.
it was such a douche.
That was pretty
move.
cool.
You know, it pays to be
Douche
first.
move.
Wait, that's a thing? Like they run out of like deep dish
Well, it was like 2
dish
a.m. I think.
pizza?
Well, because they only make so many of those particular crusts per day, and it does say
Yeah.
limited quantities
Yeah,
available.
totally.
Yeah.
Because you saw how thick that deep dish. Well, anyway, this is not a pizza podcast.
Yeah, that was just to say, suddenly
but-
it's a pizza podcast.
You know, these things happen. These things
No,
happen.
that will be the next spinoff for Eddie.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
I'm in on that.
All right.
Let's do this.
One of my favorite thing, or I don't know, favorite, but just interesting things about the Shield was just Roman's like wave, you know,
Ascent.
His beautiful blue eyes.
But I mean, I felt like ascent or like forced ascent and then descent and then actual ascent, you know, because after they broke up, it was just I was one of the, like Roman was just forced down my throat.
He was.
And
Absolutely.
I did not enjoy him, and I didn't think he should be. And I mean, I am such a Roman fan now, but it needed time, you know, and it wasn't given the time it needed, I felt.
Build him up a little bit more. Put him in the
Exactly.
mid card.
Yeah.
Let him win some mid tier titles.
He wasn't given the time to get the fans over. They were just he was forced down your throat.
Right.
This is your new face, you know,
Yep.
and it was just not working for me.
Right.
But I mean, I love him now. It took time though.
Yeah, it does. It totally
and he
takes time.
deserves it, you know, and he did deserve it at that time. It was too much too fast.
Agreed.
You know?
Agreed. That's one of the reasons I hated Brock Lesnar when Brock Lesnar first came into the Federation.
Oh, well, I
because,
still hate Brock
I
Lesnar. So I
still
mean,
hate
please
Brock
don't compare
Lesnar,
him
yes.
to Brock Lesnar because I still
Nope.
hate him.
But too much too
And
soon.
that's
Kind
And
of,
she doesn't want to hate you.
And that's going to be another podcast.
oh, fuck Brock Lesnar.
Fuck Brock Lesnar,
Yes.
which we'll advertise right now, and I will be a huge part of that as well.
Yes.
Me too.
I think I might be the only one speaking on that. Podcast.
I don't think you need us.
No, me too.
Yeah, I don't need you guys.
It'll be Shannon and Carissa.
It'll just be us. Yeah.
But in terms of too much too soon, I would say that there was a lot of parallels between what happened with Brock Lesnar and what happened with Roman. They were just
Well,
basically
I-
handed the keys to the castle.
I mean, I just want to say, are you talking about his Brock Lesnar's when he came back?
no.
he's talking about his
When
first
he
run.
first
Okay,
came
well,
in.
I mean, just as a preface for the fans, I am not an old school wrestling fan like these boys. I did not grow up on it. Actually, I think I spent many years making fun of my husband
Yes.
for watching it. And then, I mean, I think this is a relevant story. When we started dating, he would come over to my apartment, and then on Mondays, he would put on Raw sometimes, and I would be cooking, and then then he would be like, "Oh, well, I'll just watch it later. I don't have to watch Raw." And then finally, he forced me to say it. I said, "Can you please put on Raw?"
She was so embarrassed.
I was so embarrassed, you guys.
I
That was like
2008.
8-ish. So
yeah.
I
Around
was
24.
not around for Brock Lesnar's original run.
okay.
I
gotcha.
only know him as the terrible force he is now that is just taking the belts away.
Since 2012, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's quite a prick.
Yeah.
I liked Roman from the time he got there. I agree. I mean, I think anybody would agree that it was probably a little bit too much too soon. But what used to piss me off was all the fucking marks who used to carry on about he can't wrestle and he sucks in the ring and this and that.
False.
That was never true. That guy was always good.
You're totally
Yes.
right.
And now everybody likes him because he had leukemia, because that's like the baby face.
Yeah, how are you going to
fucking-
boo him? Like,
Right.
You're an asshole if you do that.
But dude, even like a year and a half ago or so, he was having matches. He did a little thing with Elias on. I don't think he ever had a pay-per-view match, but he had a few matches with Elias on Raw. Those were great matches. Like that dude's always been good in the ring. So
and his feud with Braun Strowman was great.
that was good too.
Put over Braun like a madman.
Yeah. And also, before we get off the Shield, I want to talk about my favorite things they ever did was I love their feud with the Wyatts.
Agree.
And I think
yes.
they only had one match, and I think it was at Elimination Chamber, if I remember right.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like right before WrestleMania. And that match was so badass. I think the Wyatts won, if I remember right.
I think you're right.
But they picked the Shield apart. It was kind of like they just like disappeared, made them disappear. Like, you know, you were watching it and you're like, wait, well, where'd Roman and Rowan go? They're gone.
Yeah.
And then Rollins and Harper were gone. Like, it was just a weird match, but it was awesome. And my favorite match The worst thing that ever happened to me was when they broke the Shield up. I hated that. I was
I
like
remember.
not
You were a
ready for
big
that.
Shield fan.
Yeah, I love the Shield.
No,
and
that
I was
was
so not ready for that.
devastating.
Didn't Eddie dye his hair?
I did. Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
Seth
went to
Rollins,
yeah
yeah.
at 30.
Rollins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at 30.
we
Yeah.
because we will occasionally dress up like a little bit like
A little.
what well sometimes a little like I mean I wore Jeff Hardy gloves one time and like yeah so we just dyed his hair like Seth
Oh,
Rollins.
Eddie?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you'll wear sensational Sherry lingerie under his clothing. Sometimes he does that.
Yeah.
And that
sometimes.
thong. Well, and I also wear that thong she wore at SummerSlam at Wembley, and you throw me over your shoulder.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Well, but that's every year.
I don't want to talk about the pause marks my videotape that used to have.
Right, let's not pull back the curtain too much here.
Right.
Slow down.
But I loved their feud with Evolution.
Oh,
And
gosh.
that last
yeah.
match that they had with them, it was that
was-
elimination
it
match,
was
and they
amazing.
swept Evolution. I was blown away, dude. I was like, the Shield
They're no
got,
joke.
I was like, they got plans for these guys.
Yes.
That was awesome. And then I think it was the next day they split them up.
They split them up
Yeah.
the very next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, they swept him, and like Bautista was just recently returned. Like he had just come back at the Royal Rumble,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that was in like May. They
yeah.
took the last match from Evolution. You're like, dude, what's next? And like
Yeah.
basically Bautista quits, Seth turns, and you've got a whole new storyline written. But yeah,
I didn't think it was time for them to break up. I mean, I don't know. I think I mean, in my opinion, again, I'm newer, but they have a history of breaking up teams too soon. You know, like I wasn't done with the Shield. I wasn't done with Rusev and Lana. I'm terrified of what's happening right now with Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega.
but that seems to have taken a
It
turn.
seems
I
to
hope
have
so.
taken a turn,
Yeah.
and I hope so.
Yeah.
But we're just like every time we sit, we're like, oh my god, they're fighting. Like, no,
Don't
like,
split up.
Don't split them up. You
Yeah.
know, it's too much. Did you?
Oh, no, she was.
Oh.
No, she's
so-
sucking her thumb.
Yeah. So I think. Did you have anything left to say?
No, I think that's about covers the Shield.
So I think the next topic was something super near and dear to my heart because I did cry in the kitchen on the floor when
Oh, yeah,
Edge
yeah.
retired.
Oh man.
Suddenly.
Yeah.
Wait, weren't you guys at the Edge retirement? And
No,
everybody
we were
had
at-
a bet on who was
No.
going to cry first.
Oh no,
No, that was at the Hall
I
of
think
Fame.
it was Eddie that
No,
cried.
that was
Oh,
the
that
Hall
was
of
the
Fame
Hall of Fame.
when
Hall
Shawn
of Fame.
Michaels.
And Eddie
Eddie
always
cried first.
Eddie always cries first.
Technically,
Eddie
he was
cried
not the
first.
first, and he doesn't know this. He was not the first one to cry
Who
because
was
Shawn
crying?
Michaels actually closed that Hall of Fame.
He's crying now.
Oh, I think,
And-
I think he's crying.
I was
now.
burping. I'm sorry. My hands are burping.
He's quietly belching.
Yeah.
That sometimes resembles crying.
Very polite.
So earlier in the Hall of Fame ceremony, the Road Warriors actually went into the Hall of Fame. Hawk passed in 2003, and they actually put a little Hawk action figure on the podium,
Oh yeah.
and that got me. And I hid that shit because we had a bet going as
'Cause
to
you
who
knew
was
he
going to
was
go
gonna
first,
cry soon.
and I knew Ed was going to, and I was like, nobody can know this.
Very good.
Yeah, so Ed doesn't know that. That actually happened about 8 years ago.
Okay, so I've been around for a while, and I've been to not all Hall of Fames, but quite a few. And don't you guys have like a bet on who cries first, buys pizza for everybody else?
No, that's whoever wins the WrestleMania pool.
No. She's
No, the
right.
WrestleMania pool is a cash pool.
No, she's right.
Right.
For a long time, when everyone was going to the Hall of Fame, it was whoever cried first bought drinks or something.
Yeah, I thought it was drinks. Yeah,
Yeah, but
But
I
you're
think
thinking
that's-
the WrestleMania
The
pool.
Hall of Fame got long and ridiculous, and we barely go anymore. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to have to be a big
But
name
I
that
thought,
goes in
I thought
to
Ed
go
was
in.
the
yeah.
first one to cry when Edge retired.
No.
When
because
Shawn Michaels
Edge
was Hall of Fame.
No, I was the first one to cry when Edge retired because what happened was he had a match with motherfucking
Del Rio.
Alberto Del Rio of all
At 27.
people.
Motherfucking Del Rio. And I wanted
We
to
were there.
die,
Yeah.
and I hate Alberto Del Rio. And
That makes four of us at this table.
You
so
party
he
with him,
went-
right?
Oh, really?
You
Does
party
it?
with
Because
him.
when you ran into him at the strip club, you guys seemed to really fucking
Yes.
enjoy
Okay.
him.
To our credit, though, we were drunk, and also we were at a strip club, and also we were on the second floor of the strip club on Bourbon Street, and we went out on the balcony and partied with Del Rio and got a picture with him. So that was cool.
Yeah, it was exciting to lose respect for two of the guys that I love. Anyways,
It was so long ago.
the next day he came out and it was just so unexpected. And I mean, he just had a match, like literally the night before.
Nobody
Yeah.
saw it coming.
And
No.
nobody saw it coming, and he came out, and Eddie, we were at our house to set up like the TVs in the front, and then the kitchen's in the back, and I was just like on the kitchen floor crying when he announced his retirement. because again, I just started watching in '08. So I mean, as a wrestler, he's my favorite.
What do you think about the rumors of him coming back and having one last WrestleMania match?
I am very excited, and I hope it's not like to his detriment. Like, I mean, I don't want to do anything that's unhealthy for anybody.
Agree.
And I'm actually not a huge fan of people coming in, and I'm not a huge fan of old wrestlers coming in. Like, I don't really enjoy it when random old wrestlers come in and take, I think, people that are there all the time spots. You know?
Yeah, like the part-timers, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so I guess I'm just biased, but I would love it.
I predict if he comes back, it's not for WrestleMania, it's for a Saudi Arabia show.
Oh, and
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes back at a WrestleMania because if he has another last match, I want to be there. And I'm not going to fucking Saudi Arabia.
It's like Shawn Michaels. Like Shawn Michaels always said he wouldn't come back, and then he did.
And then
And then
he
you
did
did for
over there.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Right.
yeah.
The whole that could be a whole show, the Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Anyways. So I think I just totally took over the edge of charming because that was so.
You did, but I think you
No.
covered. I think you covered it nicely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some other people kind of took a step back in the last decade. Cena.
Yeah. Went and got some dad
so
hair.
You talk about that first because then I don't know about that.
It's not good hair, but what's he gonna do, dude? He's going bald.
Yeah, shave it. Shave it
Yeah,
off.
That's true.
Don't go with the dad haircut like that.
Well, I heard that was
like a
from
male
movie-
Karen.
I
No,
heard
he looks
that
like
was
a
from
dick.
movie role.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope that's what it was.
Yeah, but he's had it that way for 2 years. He's
Yeah.
not still filming the same
Well, then
fucking
I really
movie.
liked it. I don't know.
No.
Whatever.
Like they're starting to make action figures of him with that hairstyle. It's like, oh man,
Ew.
stop it. Yeah, just stop. Like,
Are
get
they-
rid- shave your head.
Yeah.
That's
What kind
enough.
of
He's always been sort of a
what kind of
dork,
fig
you
life
guys.
is this?
Yeah,
You guys, he's always been sort of a dork.
he has, but the hair doesn't help. Like, go back to the flat top, dude,
No.
or just go bald.
I think
Yeah.
I like it better.
Oh,
All right.
dad hair?
Whatever.
I mean, I don't care.
he drives a minivan
Okay,
with that
keep
hair.
going.
Yeah. Fine.
But I think so. We're talking about him doing the reduced schedule. To me, that came up a little sooner than I expected it to.
For Cena.
I
Yes.
thought he had a few more full time years because he's
Agreed.
not that old. He's like what? He's younger than you,
A lot of people are younger than me.
right? I mean, he's like 42 or 3 or something like that. He's kind
something
of
like that,
between
yeah.
our ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I thought, but I guess he did that Amy Schumer movie, and
He
I
did.
think it kind of worked out for him.
No,
so
he
I
took
mean,
off. I think he took off for Hollywood. It was like
Yeah.
The Rock. Rock had some more time with him.
oh, Rock had way more time.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it was Cena,
Rock had a
yeah.
short run. Rock had, I mean, his run on top was half of Cena's, or maybe like a third. Rock's was really short.
It was. Yeah, because it kicked off in what, like 98 is when he really started to ascend to the main event picture, and by 2003 he was pretty much gone. As
His
a
first
full-time.
WrestleMania main event was 99 at 15, right?
Yeah.
So he was the main event at 15, and his
Yeah.
last one as like a full time guy was 19. So 4
Right.
years as the top guy.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
That's
But
a
Cena,
really short
and I
run.
mean Cena did double that or more. But I still just based on his age. But I guess Hollywood took off for him faster than I thought it would.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't have to take those bumps in the ring all the time,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Go do Hollywood.
Someone else that took a little bit of he has been taking a step back, but is Undertaker, and we can talk about that at the same time we talk about fucking Brock Lesnar returning and breaking his streak,
Man, where do you start?
and that clearly was part of him taking more of a step back.
Yeah.
But then also I feel a step forward. Like then he was doing some.
Well, he was doing the
SmackDown.
once a year. Or he was doing. I think he was doing SummerSlam and WrestleMania every
so
year.
What was going on with that?
Well, I think he was like, I've got two of me a year. I'm an older dude. I can do this twice a year.
yeah.
Then he kind of backed off to one a year, but then he kind of started hitting some random ones once in a while. Because remember, he came back with that. I don't think it was after 30. I think it was a year or two later. But he did that SummerSlam match with Brock.
Yeah, they
And
had
then
like
they
a
have-
trilogy.
Right, and then they had like another match.
Yeah.
Right. So he picked it back up a little bit, but I mean, obviously like a way reduced schedule, which he started like probably around the beginning of the decade.
Yeah.
Really, I think by like 26 or so, he was semi part time.
You could see the trend starting, and he was starting to scale back to where now he's like a once a year attraction.
Right.
Sometimes twice a year. He did the Saudi Arabia show. Man, I mean, I hate to see it, but at the same time, his physical condition. And so if what you're going to get out of Undertaker is 1 or 2 matches every year, I think I'll take that. I think he's earned it.
He's definitely earned it.
Wasn't he a once a year person at the beginning of the decade though?
That's what we just said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then he kind of
I'm
picked it
sorry.
up-
I was getting
or like
drinks
a-
for everybody, so I didn't.
That's true.
hear that.
Carissa
Yeah.
is being an amazing hostess and host of the show at the same time.
Exactly.
So big thanks to the
Multitasking like a motherfucker.
right. This is the San Diego experience, and the experience is more drinks coming to the table.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna go get more Crown.
And you want a beer.
Yeah, with the streak being broken anyway, that was another one. We were there, right? It was tragic. It was like the worst thing I've ever seen happen. How come everybody's walking around the fucking apartment?
This is the
Like,
I'm listening.
all right, you guys, I'm doing this solo now, apparently.
no, you're not.
Stop, I'm getting the drinks. Go back to
Your wife is being incredible, getting us all drinks.
So anyway, we were at 30, and
All
I'm
of us,
sure,
all four of us.
Yeah, all 4 of us, and I'm sure plenty of you guys who are listening were there and had the same experience as us. Where like 1, 2, 3, bell took a second to ring, and you're like, that had to be a mistake.
Nobody thought it was real.
It was dead silence, and there was one of those things that you always hear about, like when Hogan slammed Andre, how it was silent for half a second. I don't know if that's true, but this one was absolutely that way. It was like everybody's just mouths were wide open, shocked, people's hands
Disbelief.
on their heads. Yeah, we were like, what did we just see?
That is not what just happened. Like, that was a mistake.
That was a mistake. That's what
Right, we
everybody's
totally
first
thought
thought
it was a
was.
mistake.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the referee screwed up. Undertaker screwed up. Of course, at that time, we didn't know that he had received a concussion during the match. But what a moment to be a part of it. And they caught
Yeah.
that dude's face so perfectly.
Yeah.
When the moment happened.
Right.
Because that was
me.
85,000 people
Right.
sharing that same expression.
Yeah.
Hands on your head. Did that just happen? It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to be at some. I don't know if we'll ever see something top that. I definitely don't think I'll ever be at something that tops that. I mean, that was 20 something years.
By the way, we
you
don't
know.
mean top that like it's amazing. It was the horrible. It was the worst
That's true.
Let's not.
moment
That's true.
Yeah.
of my
Let's
wrestling
not praise
life.
it.
The one
It was terrible.
Yeah.
one upside to that for me, and not that I would, if I could make Vince go back and change it, I would. Like that streak, I don't think should have ever ended. But if there's an upside to it, it's now you don't know that he's going to win every year.
That's
right?
true.
Like I would have absolutely would have been at 32, 33.
When he faced Roman.
Roman's going to lose, right?
Right.
31, I wasn't sure Bray was gonna lose. You know, it's just now it's like anything can happen. Like they set a precedent, right? And now he's been beaten again.
Well, Bray with the ankle injury at 31, I thought Bray was going to win.
Yeah,
But Bray
yeah.
had the ankle injury, and I was like,
forgot about that.
you know what? I think Taker's going to take this one. But I think that's one that Undertaker should have lost as well. When the
Totally.
streak was broken,
Right.
Bray should have gone over in that match. I
Right.
believe.
What?
Skip it?
No. Yeah, totally. I agree. Bray totally should. And you know who I thought should have actually been the guy to break the streak was Orton at 21. And it was a much smaller streak at 21. I want to say he was like 13-1,
Yes.
14-1. I thought Orton was going to do it.
Yeah, if there was anybody in the 2000s, from 2000 to 2010, that should have broken the streak, I 100% agree with you, should have been Randy
Yeah,
Orton.
totally.
It would have totally built that legend killer gimmick.
No,
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar had no business breaking that streak.
He didn't have to be the guy to do it.
No, I
He
mean, if
really didn't
anybody
need that.
was going to, like, it should have exactly. Like,
Brock was a made man.
Literally, there could have been 10 other people that could have broken that streak, and it would have made more sense and meant something.
Right.
It meant nothing
Right.
for him to break that streak.
So really quick, before we started recording, I put out a tweet saying, does anybody have anything they want me to say on the air, right? I got a response from Dan Slater,
Awesome.
Okay.
and you can find him at, I'll just spell it, it's at PHATSLATATES. So
Slater!
at PHAT Slates. And he wanted me to say Woozle Wuzzle.
Oh my god, is that from Futurama?
I don't know. I hope so. Or is it the thing that Daryl and Michael Scott says? Daryl says to Michael Scott?
No, that's God.
He also wanted me to give a shout out to his favorite character ever, Shelton's mama.
Shelton's okay.
Remember Shelton's mama?
I do remember,
The
yes.
big fucking sloppy tits.
I do not.
Oh no.
Shelton Benjamin, yeah, it was one of those kind of sort of racist
Shelton Benjamin
gimmicks
was
they did.
like so involved
Wait.
that he had a mother character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had
Sloppy tits.
Well, yeah.
Sad.
I mean, you didn't see him, but she was in like a moo moo or some shit.
Yeah.
yeah. She
Yeah.
was a hefty woman.
There was an
Yes.
impression of sloppy
Yes.
tits.
Yeah. She looked good.
She looked good. Yeah, incredible.
Okay.
So what do we have next?
Hogan and all the trouble he got into.
He did get himself into some trouble. He said some things.
Yeah.
He
I
said
don't-
some
you-
things, yeah.
You probably, I won't, I'll just restrain myself.
I'll repeat what he said. I don't care.
No, you
No,
won't.
not-
Not on this show. You
will
won't.
not.
Not about repeating it, I just like, I have a very low opinion of him, and I know I'm in the minority.
Well, no, you're not. Actually.
No, I think I am.
No, but she had a low opinion of him before that.
Oh, before the whole thing broke.
Why?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, you did because you didn't like him because of the whole thing with when his kid crashed a car and.
Yeah, that was awful.
Oh, we're not talking about that?
Oh no!
Oh, we're talking about that.
I think that
other
might have
The
been.
racism,
The racism.
that he
Oh no, I
got-
didn't like
got
him.
caught.
But at that thing, like, no, this guy was a superhero. He was fucking.
He was larger
Yes.
than life.
He was
Ma'am.
He-Man,
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
and then
A real
he
life
decided
He-Man.
he needed to have a reality show
Yeah.
where he just. I feel like he ruined his reputation,
Yeah.
and like. When his kid got in the thing, and then like he told his kid in prison, like,
Yep.
oh, what did that guy do for him to be in this position? No, your kid fucking crashed a car.
That was horrible. But that did not happen this decade.
Right.
No, it
he
didn't?
he managed to top
No.
it. He managed to top it. You thought that was
more
horrible.
than 10 years ago.
Oh gosh,
was a
yeah.
long time ago,
that was
yeah.
in like the mid 2000s,
Oh my God.
mid to late 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
in
That
this
went down.
in this
What year is
decade,
it?
Are we really
This
that
happened in
old?
2014.
I am so old, you
Yes.
guys. Okay,
Right?
I apologize for bringing up things that are not in this decade.
Well, no, but if
It's
it
still relevant,
builds your
though.
case
It's
of
still relevant.
100%,
I
it's
just
still
in
relevant.
this decade, I still hate him, and this one didn't help. So,
Well, oh, Shannon, go.
Shannon,
I'm hella sad now because I totally forgot about that, and I have him, okay, as a tree topper. My Christmas tree.
Hulk Hogan?
you have Hulk Hogan on your Christmas
Hulk Hogan.
I have Hulk Hogan.
Oh, on
the
our figure
fucking
tree.
Black.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
on our
tree.
on our action figure tree.
Fig tree.
I
The
totally
fig tree,
forgot
the
about
16-inch
that.
Hulk Hogan figure is at the very tip top of the
I
tree.
mean,
Oh, we would like, dude. So we have action like a figure tree as well, but it's all the women.
Oh, the like the little elves.
elves.
All the little women.
Yes.
elves, and like we cannot like Eddie has
That's what I
literally
want,
been
a
talking
topper.
the entire Christmas season. Why don't they make a topper? Like, how can you not make a topper? We would buy this in a second.
Yeah,
Watch,
like a-
now next year it's going to be
But it
made.
was between him and Rowdy.
Well, they can make like a
Roddy
like a
Piper.
WWE
No,
logo
it's even
topper.
Like a WWE
Yes.
logo,
Perfect.
like the belt or like the women's belt.
Bailey's
Would be
ass.
perfect.
Yeah.
Bailey,
Oh dear.
Stop.
my daughter's a
Please
huge
stop.
fan of hers.
Damn
I
it,
can't condone
Eddie.
that,
Really? You
What the
stop.
hell?
but you're not wrong.
No, stop.
Anyways, are
Well-
we going to talk about Hogan at all?
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
That was
So
just the end of it.
so the Hogan thing was that was an event, dude. I came to work that morning and everyone was like, "What's up with Hogan, dude? What did he do?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have no
Yeah,
idea."
trending
It's
for the wrong
I go
reasons.
straight
Here we
to
go.
I go straight to WrestleZone,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then
Yeah.
the tape came out, I think, later that day, and you actually
Yeah,
heard it. And
you
I was
heard
like,
it.
but then you start getting the background on it, like what the tape was, like where
Yeah.
it came from, and I was like, "Man, that is some." You know, Big E's Twitter name is Florida Man.
Yes.
Hogan is Florida Man. I was like, that's the most Florida shit I've ever heard of in my life, right?
Florida
like,
man.
right? Like, go bang your best friend's wife while being videotaped by said best friend, and then say
Yes.
racist shit after it.
Right, right. Come on, man. And
And
see,
you know,
it's
I found out about all that on Howard because, like, I'm like a huge Howard. We're
Yeah.
huge Howard fans,
yeah.
and he was friends with Bubba. So, like, that's how I heard about all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but like you said, Carissa, you're not an old timer fan like Ed and I, and we held Hogan in way, way higher regards.
Yeah.
Even after that shit went down with his son that you brought up that happened in the 2000s.
I mean, I remember him from my childhood as it was like He-Man and Superman and Hogan. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
that.
you ask anybody, name a wrestler, they're
That
going to say
is
Hulk Hogan.
where that was the level of respect and where he was, and just all the shit that he ended up doing, and apparently not in the last decade. It's just sad, you know. Like, he could have just kept being this superhero to his fans, and he just decided he needed to expose himself more, and like, I mean, I guess at least we know now what he really is like, but. It's not
Yeah,
cool,
and so now he's
you know?
back. And then remember, like, he did the apology, and then I think it was New Day who said something. They were kind of pissed, and they said something.
Titus O'Neil as well,
Or
I think,
Titus,
said
yeah.
something.
Basically, he apparently in the apology said, It's like the stupidest apology ever. I would have never said that if I knew I was being recorded.
Oh my god.
Which is like, how do you not, even if that's how you feel, even if, you know what I mean? Even if that's true, how do you not have sense enough not to say that?
Yeah.
I was like, what a dummy. And it's like a weird thing. It's like, I'm glad he's back. I'll always mark out whenever he shows up.
I agree with
But
you.
it's kind of
I will
never
too.
going to be the same. You know what I mean? He's like tainted.
He really is, and
Right.
it's hard because he was, as Carissa mentioned, when you're growing up, Hulk Hogan was
You love that
a
fucking
real
guy.
life superhero.
Yeah.
I loved Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan. I loved him in the 80s. I loved him in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I loved him throughout the 2000s. And then he pulled that shit in 2014, and I'm like, man, you are making it real hard to continue to be a fan
Right.
of you. But regardless, I'm still, like you said, cheering him when he comes out. And that is 100% nostalgia based. It's not condoning what he said or what he did in either of the last 2 decades. But I still love Hogan.
See, I'm
I still
super
do.
not. I like go get a shot and groan. But whatever your opinion is.
All right, well, I think that covers Hogan.
Yeah,
So
enough
we're
about
gonna
Hogan.
Take a moment and do an in memoriam.
Oh boy,
Are we taking a shot?
I think we
I think
should.
we're definitely doing a cheers.
A sip, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so we're gonna
this is
raise
raise
our
a glass.
glasses.
Prosecco, El Segundo, and
Crown Royal.
Crown to and add anyone that I'm missing. Macho Man,
Dig it.
Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes, Bruno Sammartino, and I have Harley written here, and I don't know who that is.
I told you who it was.
Harley Race.
Yeah, Harley
Okay.
Race. She asked me the other day. She didn't write it down.
No, I have
Carissa,
Harley.
dude, that makes my heart sad.
That I don't know who Harley is.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
But she said that she's not an old timer
I'm
fan.
not an
She didn't
old-timer.
watch in the
Well,
80s, so
and-
she gets a pass
Also,
on
neither
that.
are
That's
you.
really sad. Like we,
I do want to point out that Shannon is wearing the
dude,
T-shirt
I
of.
had a Brutus the Barber motherfucking beefcake picture
Yeah, that's
she
not
just
next
say
to my
motherfucking?
That's not
Yeah.
what I'm talking
bed
about.
next to my bed. I know who Harley Race is because I know who Brian Breaker is.
Can I also point out she is wearing a Breaker and Bane T-shirt, and
Yes.
Brian Breaker was actually a student of
My
Harley
girls
Race's
just got
at his
super
academy.
mad.
Wow.
Me.
Wow.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
love you.
Harley was
I love
great.
you.
Actually, of those guys, he was the one I kind of had the least attachment to because I didn't see a lot of his stuff, right?
Well,
to me, Harley's
yes.
the guy who
King Harley.
King Harley,
I mean-
and he's the guy who went through the table. He was the first guy I ever saw go through a table.
Stirred his guts when he
The
was
first
facing
person
Hogan.
I ever saw
Right.
well, no, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
No,
that's
go ahead, please
irrelevant.
continue.
No, that's irrelevant.
The first
That's
person
not
you got-
the first person I ever did not see not go through a table. The first chick I seen go through a double table was Trish Stratus, and that's why I love her.
All right.
We all love Trish.
Another show though.
I think of
And
those
that's
guys.
irrelevant, yeah.
I think of those guys. Piper. It's tough between Piper and Macho Man, though.
Heenan.
Well,
Heenan
okay, but
passed.
we were gonna kind of gloss over Heenan because
Yes.
we're gonna do a whole episode about Heenan later.
And I'm not trying to get emotional right now.
Right. Yeah, no.
Because
Heenan is like on such a level that he deserves his own episode. These guys get a, in memoriam like at the Emmys. Heenan gets his own Emmys.
Nikolai
Makes-
Volkov
Well,
Oh, Nikolai! I forgot about Nikolai.
and Jim
the
Neidhart.
only other
And right.
sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Well, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead,
no,
Shannon.
no.
Shannon, please.
Nothing. No go.
Well, you can't do that.
Well, you
now.
can't
Okay.
interrupt the show and then be like,
You
never
literally
mind.
just raised your hand and then said nothing.
I'm not trying to be mean. Like I only know about Harley Race because I
I'm
mean,
still talking about
obviously
talking
you
about
guys
Harley,
talking
yeah.
about them on your podcast.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we had a podcast on Fully Posable where we had Brian Breaker on, and he told a crap ton of Harley race stories. It was
I
awesome.
mean,
so
I'm not OG like Scott and Eddie.
no, but you learned a lot
I
from that
made
show.
one comment. I didn't write his last name down. I'm so
So we
sorry.
need
guys.
to like educate this Carissa. I love with all my heart.
Well, I was just gonna
On
point,
this Harvey
like I
list.
look. I have only the first names for everyone else, and I knew them. Okay, but I was gonna point out that my family is from Pittsburgh, and
Ah,
when the first
yes.
time I took Eddie back to Pittsburgh, and we went to
Permane
Brothers.
Brothers.
Permane Brothers, and they had a whole mural on the wall, and Bruno Sammartino was on it, and he marked that.
Oh my
fuck
God,
out.
yeah, that
Kurt
was
Angle too, right? Kurt
Angle
was
too.
on-
Yeah,
Angle.
yeah.
But they
Yeah.
love San Martino. Like that is San Martino country.
Right.
I mean, dude, anyone that's from there, like, I
Yeah.
mean, like Mr. Roger. I mean, like, dude, like, seriously, like,
You're a hero.
anyone
Wait,
that's from
Mr.
Pittsburgh.
Rogers is from Pittsburgh?
Yes, he's
Yeah.
from fucking. You know who else is?
Who?
His best friend.
Carnegie.
Carnegie
Oh,
Asada.
not
If they say fucking Carnegie, they get.
No, I was going to say Mr. Rogers' friend Romero,
Carne asada.
right? George Romero.
Yes.
Wait,
George
they were-
Romero.
the Great Joker?
No,
No,
the,
Joker.
Dawn of the Dead guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that okay.
And
filmed
he and Mr.
that
Rogers
in-
were homies.
Oh,
He filmed his
Dawn of the
movie
Dead.
Dawn of the Dead in a mall in Pittsburgh.
The,
Oh.
the
Or
Monroeville
not in
Mall.
Pittsburgh. It's outside of Pittsburgh.
Monroeville.
But we went there, and they're just anybody that's from there is like
Yeah.
they are so like huge fans.
I think I've gotten drunk and talked to everyone in your family about Bruno Sammartino.
That's
Like
probably
literally
true.
every
Did they
relative
know
of
him?
yours.
Like,
No,
I mean, they
nobody
never met
knows
him. But they know who he is. I mean, he's a legend. But yeah, going down those, I think Piper and Macho Man were definitely the hardest ones for me.
oh, let's not forget Mean Gene as well.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh,
Mean
you know
Gene
what?
passed away.
Me and Gene
Yes.
just moved to the top of my list.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a hard
that
one
was
as well.
bad, man.
You and I
Oh.
talked on the plane on the way here,
We
and
did.
we were talking about the ones that hit us the hardest.
Yeah.
And for both of us, it was definitely Bobby Heenan.
Uh huh.
But
Yep.
a real close second,
Mean Gene.
I mean, you got to put Mean Gene up there, who, in addition to Heenan, I don't want to spoil too much because we're going to have a show about him, one of the best performers in wrestling
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Be it behind the camera, in front of the camera, wrestling, commentating, announcing. That guy sold us so much crap in the 80s and 90s. Had us calling hotlines left and right. One of the other legends that's
Yeah.
definitely missed.
Yeah. Oh, and Piper, she and I were at the 10 Bell for it
We
the
were.
next day because he died like late in the week, or it was
Yeah.
after SmackDown anyway. Whatever.
Right.
it is. SmackDown was I think on Tuesday or Thursday then.
Yeah.
He might have died over the weekend or maybe Monday. I don't remember. But yeah, we were the next Raw was in San Jose, and it was pretty cool. I'll tweet pictures of it. We had
It was
floor
crazy,
seats,
no, the
and I brought my
entire
camera.
roster
Yeah, it was cool. It was,
was
like
there.
it was one of those things. Like it's kind of cool. Like we got to go to a 10 Bell, but like we don't really want to go to a 10 Bell because then someone's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, unless it's like a 10 Bell for Brock.
Whoa, whoa,
No!
hey, dude.
Bam!
Yeah.
Or
Del
I
Rio.
shouldn't have said that. No, I shouldn't have said that
Oh,
about
Del Rio,
Brock.
I'm down. For that.
I shouldn't have said a 10 Bell for Brock. I should have said a 10 Bell for Matt Riddle.
Wow, dude.
And his wife.
Whoa. I might have you thrown out of here.
Keeping it real.
Wait, weren't we there for Nola
You were there.
Ultimate Warrior too? Right?
You weren't there when he
That was
died.
good.
Well,
No,
he
we were
was on
there
the
the
Monday
next
night.
day, right?
He was on the Monday Night Raw the following night after
And
we
then
saw
he
him at
died the next
WrestleMania,
day, right?
and then he
Yes.
died
Oh,
the
I
next
didn't-
day.
We weren't there.
No, we didn't
Oh.
go to Raw. We did not go to
Are
Raw.
you sure?
Positive. We were not there for that because Warrior came out and did that whole speech, and that was the last time that he was
So
a
it was-
WWE
It's
ring.
cool. It's cool that we forgot about the Warrior dying.
Yeah, God, man, we
Yeah.
forgot about the Warrior. Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah,
You just,
yeah, Good call. Yeah.
Aren't
That's
you, like,
another
obsessed?
huge
Don't
loss.
you like love him?
I love the Ultimate
Yeah.
Warrior. Like
But
that's
isn't-
going to be one of
but
the
isn't he
tattoos I
like-
get.
But isn't he like a huge douche?
Yeah, he died because he deserved it.
Well, WWE has a way of erasing history.
False?
Dude, my dad, bless my dad's soul in heaven. Original Chalkline jacket.
Well, it's not even Chalkline. It's
No,
WWE
it's
branded.
absolutely Chalkline.
It's Chalkline
It
style.
says no. On the
Okay,
tag, it says Chalkline.
this argument doesn't need to happen on air.
Yeah, this is not
It'll
this is not a
get
good hill
worse.
to die on.
This is amazing.
No, it's a
I'm sure
chocolate.
everyone
It's a
enjoys this. but
chocolate.
Okay,
move
so he
forward.
had yes. Okay,
It's
go
a
ahead. I'm sorry.
Chalkline. This Ultimate Warrior.
Your dad had an Ultimate Warrior old school jacket that you could get in the catalog in like '89, and you said it's still
No,
in the
that's
closet.
the original. Yes,
Yeah, the
that's
original.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior jacket.
Yeah, no, Ultimate Warrior's another one that I know you weren't a huge fan of his.
I was
Shame
a
on you.
huge fan of his when I was a kid. When I was older, because you know when you're a kid, when you're like 10 years old, you don't really know what a good wrestling match is, right?
True.
Then when I was older and I would go back and watch his matches, I'd be like, oh, he kind of was shitty at his job.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And then he started doing those weird speeches and everything. And then I was
Yes.
like, oh, this guy's a dick. And then he died, and then I was like, good, fuck him.
What?
God damn.
Yeah, no,
Oh my
I have bad
God.
feelings about the Ultimate Warrior.
This is true.
Eddie,
Yeah, no, no.
He does.
Eddie,
To his
listen,
credit, he
Eddie,
always has since like the
Yeah.
early '90s,
No,
mid '90s.
late 90s.
Eddie,
Yeah,
fighting words.
whatever.
Ooh, there's me
Whatever,
right
put your
there.
hair up and square up, bitch.
Dude, my hair's already up. I'll square up.
Well, that was an amazing in memoriam. I love talking shit about all those people that died. So we just want to thank you for hanging in here, and thank you for staying for apparently extended
It's all right. Let's keep going.
episode.
You guys got bonus
of
coverage.
This because this is Decade in Reviews, and there's a lot to go over. So we're gonna go as long as it takes. And if you can't hang, you can just pause it and come back tomorrow. So the next thing that we want to talk about is just a ton of stuff that's included in one, which is just all the indies that came up, including and involving AEW. Just like kept going. Like so many things happened with that.
Yeah, so I think the first big thing for the indies would
We
be
have New Japan and
yeah. Well, I mean
All
the
of
first
them,
one to really blow up would be Ring of Honor, right? Like they were the
Yes.
first ones to get like national TV. And there were some strong indies. What?
I just wanted to point out which indie one in the Bay Area did you used to do video for?
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
APW.
Yep.
So we used to go to APW, right? That was the one that had the King of the Indies tournament. That's
Yes.
where Daniel Bryan came out of. Christopher Daniels used to go up there like in the late 90s.
Yep.
APW is awesome. It was actually at one point one of the stronger indies, but they were a little early, right? They were before social media. If they'd peaked later, they probably could have done something. But Ring of Honor was really the first one that kind of really became a big thing, right? Like they had national TV. Oh my God, it has to be 12, 13 years ago. And then they were kind of like the feeder system for WWE because like so many guys have come through there, like Daniel Bryan, Rollins, all these people. And then there were the other ones. There was Evolve, right? Evolve's big. And then we had the women's ones. We had Shimmer.
Okay.
And I can't think of that other one. But yeah, the main thing that's come out, it kind of sort of
What was the one in Newark?
in New York.
In Newark.
Newark.
Oh, Newark. Newark has Big Time Wrestling, which is run by Kirk White.
Yeah, so I grew up right next to an amazing indie.
And that's where Bailey used to go watch shows.
Yes,
What do you have to say,
yes.
Shannon?
What's up, Shan?
Let's talk about Shotzi.
Oh, yeah. So we
She
live.
came out of
Yes, we should
That's
talk about
yeah,
Shotzi
good
Blackheart.
point.
That is excellent.
So we live right outside of Oakland,
first time
and we have
saw
Hood
her
Slam.
was
We have Hood Slam every
Hood Slam, right?
Oh, definitely have
Yeah.
Right.
for sure.
Right, we have that every
Amazing.
Friday night, and we saw her there a couple times. The first time we saw her ever was this is crazy. If you guys are, if there are any,
Love Shotzi. Yes.
if there are any Shotzi Blackheart fans out there, she used to be
She's
on a
awesome.
TV show that was on Saturday nights in the Bay Area at like midnight, 12:30. It's called
Coffee.
Creepy Coffee Movie Time, and it was one of those. It was like an Elvira type show where they have some wacky hosts and they will play old like Universal monster movies or whatever's in the public domain. And she was a cave girl, so she would just kind of stand there.
Yeah, and they have these like
Yes.
two hosts.
Yeah,
and
she was
then
kinda
all
like-
these like chicks, and like sometimes they're like burlesque-ish.
Yeah, and she was like the only one who was kind of hot.
Yeah. Ew.
And well, we've talked about this.
All right.
and,
but you don't say it loud.
And then I saw her. She was like hosting like Halloween parties around the Bay Area. I didn't know she was a wrestler until I saw her on Tough Enough, and now she's in NXT. So she came straight out of the Indies. So she came right out of. I mean, she was a regular Hood Slam.
Dude, she's on XT.
Yeah. So yeah, the Indies really blew up over the last decade, and social media, YouTube. That's what facilitated that. That was a huge part of it. But Ring of Honor was really the main one that went crazy first. I think Evolve would be kind of right in that area. And then now you have like MLW, stuff like that. But kind of the end result of all of it ended up being, if you guys are wondering why you're not hearing Scott, he walked away like 2 minutes ago. I thought he went to pee, but I think he's doing a Menudos.
No, he had to pee.
That's quite a
Take a
pee.
shit.
Oh, welcome
I'm
back.
back. Hey, thank you. What did I miss?
You took a
You miss me
missed
carrying
the
you like a fucking
entire
broom?
History of Bay Area
Shotzi.
indies.
of Shotzi.
Oh, of Bay Area Indies.
Well, I went on a rant, and then now I'm coming up on AEW. Like, kind of like the end, not the end result, but like all these indies kind of blew up over the last decade
Did
with
you
social
mention
media.
Pro Wrestling Gorilla?
Oh, PWG, yeah, totally.
PWG
I forgot about
was a
that.
big part of it. A
and
lot of guys went through that.
CZW,
It's
There have been a
CZW
lot.
as well.
Kevin
right?
Owens.
Oh, I mean, look, Kevin Owens.
yeah. And then we'll also like I wouldn't call it indie, but New Japan really started to establish themselves
Took
here.
off, yes.
Right?
In North America,
And
yes.
then now we find out today that they don't have a TV deal anymore.
No more TV deal.
So I guess that's the end of New Japan. I don't know. I mean, I
That'll
hope
be
not.
that in North America.
I'm hoping they get on a better channel that I have access to.
Yeah, you know, Access is the channel that used to have ROH and dropped them as well.
Right. Yeah, and then they have like some women's show. I forget what it's called.
Okay.
But I've never seen it. But so anyway, it's all sort of resulted in AEW, right? Because it was a bunch of indie guys got together. They started running their own shows.
Yes.
They did the 10,000 seat arena.
Yep.
Right. And now we have a new show on TV, which that's sort of another part of the biggest thing that's happened in the decade is AEW. And I would say AEW is like right there in the top couple things that's happened in the last decade, right?
It really is, and it's a good thing for WWE to have competition. You
Yeah.
and I have spoken about this many times, that WWE has proven that they're at their best when they have somebody nipping at their heels.
Yeah.
If you are a person that loves wrestling and you are rooting for AEW to fail, you're dead wrong. If-
I have a lot to say about that, but go ahead. I'll let you
I know
do
that
this
you
first.
do. I know that
Yeah.
you do, and you shouldn't want any company to fail because the more the merrier. There's more places for the wrestlers out there to work, and WWE is only going to get better if they have super good competition nipping at their heels. It has not been Impact. It has not been ROH. It has not been NJPW. I want AEW to succeed.
Well, I mean, I think I would go so far as to say if you don't like AEW, you hate America.
Yes, exactly. You hate capitalism.
You hate capitalism.
You're a communist.
I think you're a communist. Yeah.
Here's the way I look at AEW. It's kind of so I'm not new to wrestling Twitter, but I'm like balls deep in wrestling Twitter now since we started this podcast, right? Because like
he's
my own
balls
personal
deep.
Twitter account is kind of a little bit of everything, right? I'll talk about what's on TV or
Yes.
whatever bullshit, right? But with this account, it's wrestling. It's a wrestling
Yes.
Twitter. And you end up following some motherfuckers like you're trying to promote the podcast, right? So you don't want to unfollow people. You want to follow everybody and you want to engage with people. But there are some people out there where I'm like, you just are fucking gross.
Yep.
And the number of people, it's one thing for people to like joke about AEW loss in the ratings the last couple of weeks. Fine, whatever. It's a joke. Or to just, you're pointing out a fact. That's fine. But there are a lot of people out there who are like, AEW's going to fail and I can't wait. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you want AEW to fail?
Yeah.
Like, why would you not want?
That's
if
not
you
good for
don't-
anybody.
If you don't like it, fine, don't watch it.
Don't watch.
Right?
It's very
like
simple.
to me, like we were talking earlier about like who's going to win the war. Like, I don't want anyone to win the war because I lose if one of them goes away.
Yes,
I like
exactly.
AEW and I like NXT. Now AEW does some stuff I don't like. Right? I don't think Orange Cassidy has any fucking business on TV.
Pockets?
Yeah, he should be wrestling at Hood Slam. The Dark Order are goddamn ridiculous.
They can throw a punch, those
right,
fuckers.
there are some things like that that I just are
But you
like
could say the same thing about WWE.
right. WWE does the same thing, so this is not
There's
an
faults
AEW
everywhere.
thing.
Like, nothing's perfect.
Right, but they also do a lot of good stuff. I like the Inner Circle. I like the Bucks. I like Ambrose. Obviously, I like that.
Kenny Olivier.
What's all right, Jim. I like that. What's his name? Perfect 10's getting a shot. They do a lot of good stuff. Overall,
Perfect
their
10 is on
matches.
AEW?
He is.
What?
He is.
I hurt him.
Yeah.
Sean Spears.
So it's like
Yeah.
I think so. They do a lot of good stuff. They do some bad stuff. To me, just like do less of the bad stuff, more of the good stuff.
Yeah. They'll figure it out.
Less Kylie, more Kendall, if you will, is the way I'd like to explain that.
Will you stop?
But if you're one of those people who are
I've
like,
never loved you more.
right?
I love you.
But there are people who just really want them to go out of business. And I'm like, dude, you know what? If you don't like Jericho, fine. Root against Jericho. Root against Kenny Omega. Root against the Bucks. Those guys are going to be fine. But there are a lot of lower level guys who are finally just figuring out a way to make their living in wrestling.
Right.
Why would you root against them? Also, you know what? You've got a TV crew. They're all probably mostly freelancers, but it's still a once a week gig, right? You've got stagehands that set up the shows. You've got ushers. You've got people working the arenas. You've got a lot of people who make money off of these shows. So I think it's just really, if you're rooting for a company to go out of business because you don't like a fucking TV show, grow the fuck up. Thank you.
Boom.
Well, I was hoping AEW would help WWE step up, but I don't feel like that's happening.
No, I think
Not
they are.
yet.
NXT's been great though.
Maybe.
And I think, you know what? I think Cody
NXT's
Rhodes.
always been great, though. I mean, there's no comparison.
I think Cody Rhodes said it best. WWE had a 49-year head start on this process.
Yeah.
It's not a war that AEW is going to win overnight.
But I
And-
don't think it's a war. It's more like, let's make each other better, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. I
Yeah.
hate that they
No.
put NXT up head to head with AEW.
No,
It's a war.
He just immediately,
It's a war.
Vince just went to that.
And it didn't need to.
It didn't
need to.
No, it was sad.
Yeah.
It was like a sad move.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I want AEW to succeed as much as Ed does. He's
Yeah.
probably a little more passionate about it than I am. But WWE always gets better when they have competition. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win for the fan if they do well. Yeah.
It's a war.
Agreed.
It is a war. You're right. It is a war.
No,
And there's
it
got to
is.
be a winner at some point. But as Ed said, if there is a winner, we're all losers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Welcome back, by the
I
way.
pee so much faster than you.
Way
oh my
faster.
God, you took so much longer to pee.
I have a slow dribble. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, do we have anything else to say about the indie?
No, I think we covered that.
Okay, so I think our next topic is just like the most influential things that happened in the last decade, which the first thing is NXT.
Yeah, NXT was a goddamn game changer. It went.
Yep.
I loved. It's changed now, but I loved the 1 hour format.
Yes.
Right. I really liked the wrestling in a studio just because it was so different from what was current.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just look at how many stars. Like everybody has come out of there.
That's the
They've
key.
Made so many stars, and they run that show. I think I've seen like 2 episodes of NXT that I thought weren't good. Like it's consistently good week to week to week.
Yeah. Starting in essentially what would have been like 2014. They started there.
No. I would say no. Like, well, I started watching it in probably mid 2013.
Okay, but I'm
And it
talking
was
about like when
good.
they really took off, though. Dude.
Well, that was
like,
when
I'm
it started
talking
to-
like Finn Balor came in,
Well, when
Kenta came in, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Pac.
When the network started.
Yeah, when the network, yes. And
Right.
that's when NXT really took off and stood on their own, and you really started to see guys that were on the NXT roster that you're like, this is only a matter of time before these guys are
Yeah.
showing up on the main roster.
Right.
That's where the Shield came from.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn. I mean, so many names came out of NXT. That was a legit breeding ground for the next generation of guys.
Absolutely.
And you look at the roster today, those guys all came through, almost all of them came through NXT.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, there are a handful that didn't, but like very, very few. And yeah, I mean, it changed everything. It just changed the entire industry
It did.
for the better.
For the better, exactly.
Yeah, and there was definitely like a question when like WCW went out of business, ECW, where it was like, where are guys going to get trained?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know where these guys are getting trained, to tell you the truth, because the guys that show up to NXT are really, really good already. Even guys who didn't spend a lot of time in ROH,
Including Matt Riddle.
Yeah, yeah, he's incredible. The way he kicks those flip flops off.
It's riveting stuff.
But yeah, NXT really, that's right there for me up in the top, 2-3 things of the last decade that have happened for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. What else do we have?
Well, I think one of the most that was very exciting for me because it saved me a shit ton of money was the network.
Yeah, the network was a
Instead of
total.
spending $60 a month on pay-per-views, I got to spend $9.99 and get not just the pay-per-views, but so much more.
Right. Yeah, that really changed everything. Like that was. We would watch probably, so we'd get like the big 4 pay-per-views
No,
every
we
year.
got
'Cause King of
every
the Ring was gone.
pay-per-view.
No, for a while we did. For a couple years we did, but then
after
we
the
backed it off.
Embarrassing moment when I said, "Can you please put on Raw?" We got every pay-per-view.
I would say for a couple years we got every pay-per-view. And then we kind of backed off and we're only getting like the ones we really want. Like we were trying to save the money to buy a house,
But
right?
if we don't get this pay-per-view, then how will I know what happened?
Yeah, no, I know. It was
Exactly.
rough. It was rough.
No, they totally got me. They got me.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
But at least you didn't have to have uncomfortable conversations with your grandparents about getting pay-per-views anymore.
That's true.
Like, for example, when there's a Survivor Series on a Thursday
right.
and a Tuesday in Texas.
Right.
Those are uncomfortable conversations and things have to be done that you're ashamed of years later.
And I didn't have to steal pay-per-views.
Exactly. Like,
Right.
Stole paper.
No,
No,
he
that would
stole
be me.
pay-per-views, this
You
motherfucker.
stole paper.
look, I was an innocent child in all of it. My parents are the ones that made the decision to get a cheater box in the house. I just took full advantage of
The
it.
cool thing, though, too, is your parents did not realize that the cheater box also got porn. Right?
That's was awesome.
Yeah,
for
that
you.
was where we saw the video where
Winning.
the
Wait,
dude.
didn't
Hey, remember the
someone
dude?
talk shit to you recently about?
That was us
Getting
having
a
a
cheer
conversation.
box?
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been Ed on the Tuesday in Texas episode, talking
that was
massive
Ed.
shit because my parents were stealing cable, and years later he was a cable guy.
Yes. So yeah, the network was. That might be my favorite thing of the last decade. I mean, I love
It's
the network.
mine.
There's so
Yeah.
much cool stuff
It's
on there,
so
dude.
intense.
Like, you
It
know,
is.
So much.
you know what's one of the
Oh my
coolest
God.
things on there is the hidden gems section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you just go on, it's like an old Bobby Heenan promo,
No,
right?
you guys, you know what Eddie's favorite thing is?
Yes, go.
This fucking shit show of.
Is that the watch along? Is it the watch along?
No, not the
Yeah, watch
the
along, watch along.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my effing god.
Yeah,
It's like this fucking shit show. It's like if
it's like this show.
it's like if you were literally in your living room watching TV, and then we like they were just recording it, and dude, like all I hear is like my husband hysterically laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? He's like, this is amazing. And like, I'm literally like, I'm showering, I'm getting ready to go out or something. And I come back and I'm like, you're still watching this.
It's
like,
a fucking disaster.
I literally cannot look away from this.
Yeah, it's so.
I cannot look away.
It's one of those things where it's like it's so bad that
Yeah.
you love it.
Okay,
You know?
you love it,
I love it. I love it.
Carissa. He loves it.
I know,
Yeah.
no, I don't love it.
But
I
yeah,
don't love it either.
I love that on the
But
network.
I do understand the second time they did it, they tried to produce it too much.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, because they were like, watch along this week on the network,
watch
and
along.
Zack Ryder's going to be there, and you're like, no, I liked it when I didn't know he was going to be there because it felt like people were just randomly walking.
Yeah,
in.
just randomly
so,
walking in.
So way to
Literally
ruin
talking-
shit, Kevin Dunn.
Yeah.
People were like talking to other people, like their back was turned to the camera. Like it was a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this show. Yes, Shannon.
Never mind.
Will you stop?
Who wants to watch that Zack Ryder though? Not me.
Hopefully he doesn't drink. Otherwise, this show's in trouble.
Yeah.
Me.
Well,
I want to watch
This idea
Zack
could
Ryder.
get taken too.
So I
would suck.
think one of the most
Shannon, you got to stop slamming that glass down on the fucking table.
You gonna stop sliding the fucking chair out?
Here we go.
I got the
There we
headphones on. I can hear what's going into the mics. You
I can
can't.
hear you sliding.
Okay,
the
you
fucking
guys.
chair
Clearly she
out.
doesn't care.
That's not really.
Let's put a couple shots in her so she passes out in the next episode, please.
So I think the most.
Give her some dick, dude.
Whoa! Wow.
Relax her.
It
Whoa!
was not necessary.
Like, make me calm.
Well, Shannon, I think that you might have the most to say about the next part that we're going to talk about, which is the women's revolution. And I think that was one of the most exciting parts of the last decade. I mean, for me, I think for you.
Nope, she got nothing to say.
She has nothing to say. It absolutely was because
you.
growing up, women's wrestling was always like the piss break of the card.
Yeah.
And it was
Well,
always
Benoit was the piss break.
when
The women was like,
the 2000s.
let's see what they're wearing.
Well, I mean, even I'm talking about like the early
The
'80s,
lingerie
dude.
match.
Oh, the early-
Yes,
Yeah, the lingerie.
Oh, or the
It
bed.
wasn't legit. It
The
was
bedroom
stupid as
matches,
fuck.
yeah.
It was
Yes.
stupid as fuck. It was a pillow match. It
Yeah.
was stupid as shit. Nobody took women's wrestling to what it should be.
Exactly.
Until Sasha,
Yes.
Bailey, Charlotte came on NXT.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank.
Also Becky.
Also Becky.
Also Becky.
Although, you know what? I would say it started before them. I think it was Paige and Emma. Right? They were the
No.
first. Well,
I would,
that's because you
Wow.
didn't watch NXT.
I
when
would
did.
like to actually say it was the Bellas.
No. I disagree.
You're all wrong.
I think it was Charlotte, Bailey,
Becky and Sasha.
Becky, and Sasha.
I
Period.
understand
Point
that's what
blank.
you. I
NXT got introduced. I lost all faith in when Lita and Trish, stopped. They retired, and I was like, I'm not watching because I loved women's wrestling. Women's
No, I know.
wrestling was my. I
No,
mean,
I've never met a bigger Trish fan than you. But I also do think like that was a different generation, and I think the Bellas did start it. Like you have to give you have to give respect.
Okay, I have to
guys.
go. I have to go close to the mic. No.
Okay.
No.
She respectfully disagrees.
Keeping it real.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think the Bellas are good. Period.
But
Sorry.
I'm wondering, did they push the women's division forward,
That's
or
what
did
I
they
think.
tread water
No,
in between
the
Trish
women's
and Lita?
revolution started
I
in
think-
NXT. NXT
No, I-
is the bomb. Period. Point blank.
I think there wouldn't have been an NXT bring up without the Bellas. I think they did push the women's division forward. I'm gonna defend them till
Wrong.
my dying day. Like I swear to God.
Well, we might have to kill you today.
Have you watched every
Hey,
episode of Total Bellas?
Here. Let me. Okay, let me slam my glass
Yes.
down. Oh, that's plastic. That's plastic.
Look, you spilled your water. This is
Seriously,
No.
Shannon, that's
Shannon,
really
Shannon,
annoying.
you're ruining my drunk podcast. Please.
I 100% disagree.
But I do like it's so.
But that's
It's
me.
not hilarious, but it's it just says where the industry has gone.
Yes.
That I mean, Eddie and I used to watch Trish's match constantly.
Yeah, her retirement match with Lita.
match when she headlined Raw.
No, it wasn't Raw. It was Unforgiven.
Yeah, or whatever. But
something.
like, and then when everything happened, like, it was like even Eddie was like, there.
That match doesn't hold up.
This no, that's not what I was gonna say.
Oh.
A woman. Well, they're never gonna let a woman necessarily headline a pay per view.
I didn't think they
And
ever
they're
would.
definitely never going to let a woman headline WrestleMania.
Right.
And I said, no, it's coming
Yeah.
right fucking now.
You were right.
And I was totally right.
Yeah.
Shannon,
Okay.
when you raise your hand, you have to have something to say.
I know I have to have something to say, and I have something to say.
Please do.
Like, I always thought women's wrestling was awesome. I love women's wrestling, period. Seeing this person, Trish Stratus, being put through a double motherfucking table by the Dudleys was my shit.
You love it.
100%. See anybody else being put through a double table? I don't see that now. We don't see chicks being tossed through double table.
Right.
Two tables. Okay. Let me know when a Bella has gotten put through two tables. Two fucking tables.
I don't think it's ever happened. I think
it's
you can-
never happened. A double table.
Well, I mean, I don't
Trish
think it's-
Stratus got put through the fucking two tables by the Dudleys.
Yeah, but Trish and the Bellas can both be good.
I
My
don't
lovely,
give no
my
fucks.
lovely wife.
It's not
I
happening.
do appreciate your. Yeah, it's not a comparison.
It's not a
you know?
comparison, but it is a comparison because
Yeah.
Trish Stratus is the bomb.
I don't think anybody's
Dude.
arguing that.
Well, I think
Nobody's arguing
nobody's,
that.
and
But
I
like,
think we all know how Shannon feels now. But
Okay, you know what? I think it's probably time to move on past this because this has gone totally
'cause
off the rails.
Actually, the point
No,
of
this
this
is
is the
great
women's revolution,
subjects.
and now we've just been talking about history. Remember when they brought everybody in
wait, we're talking about
Who?
for the women's revolution? Like they brought all the NXT because that was.
Oh yeah, so they brought in Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte.
and they did like teams of three, right?
Yeah, it was teams
Those
of
three factions,
It
yeah.
was teams of three.
Brooklyn.
No.
Brooklyn.
Not Becky. Bailey and Sasha.
Well, Bailey wasn't brought in yet. Remember, Bailey was
Yeah,
held
no,
back.
she came like a year
she
later.
was held back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
long
time.
she,
She was
was.
held
No,
back.
it was three because they brought in with two of them with Paige, right? And then-
Charlotte and Becky were
Or
with
maybe
Paige.
one-
I forget. No. It
Or
was
was
one
Naomi?
NXT. I don't know. It doesn't. It's not that.
Whatever,
important.
you're
Yeah.
right. You're
Sasha
right.
was with Naomi. And
Anyways,
Tamina.
there was a bunch of the NXT women because it was the women's revolution. Like it started, I feel, in both sections. Like there were women in both sections that said, like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not just going to be sexy. I'm going to like actually learn to wrestle, and I'm going to do this. And
Beth Phoenix too. Let's not forget the
Yeah,
Wow,
Beth.
and
yeah.
Natalya.
But there was
Yeah.
always,
Yeah, right.
but they were always there. There was always these one-offs.
Well, they were sort of the
That
ones
were,
who could
you
go
know-
out and have a good match, and actually later on, Eve too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It took her a while, but
You're
Eve
right.
got Eve got really good.
Well, no, you're totally right.
Jacqueline.
But it
Jacqueline.
took her. There was always one-offs, Beth Phoenix and Natalia specifically. But yeah, it took a while for the entire industry, I felt, to get to that point where we don't just have to have women have pillow matches or whatever the fuck they do,
Lingerie matches.
or be like fucking Callie.
bathroom
Yeah.
breaks.
I already said that.
Bathroom
Okay.
breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to have the women be bathroom breaks. We can have them be amazing. I don't even know that they did that. No, the industry, the women did that. Like they did that for themselves.
And giving them the long form matches on NXT, I think really helped establish, look, these women can go, and when they hit the main roster, they're going to change your view of what women's wrestling is.
It was absolutely
And
NXT that did
when
it.
those
NXT.
the real four horsewomen hit the main roster, you really saw it. And I'm going to go to my deathbed saying that my second favorite match of all time is Bayley and Sasha from Takeover, because the story that they told, the match that they gave, is up there with Savage and Steamboat in my opinion. And I know that's not your favorite match of all time, but it's mine.
Mine too.
No,
And-
my favorite match of all time is Bailey and Sasha at
Well,
Takeover Brooklyn.
thank you. So
Yeah, that's
it's
that was Shawn Michaels.
Undertaker.
Undertaker 25 was my favorite before that. Shawn Michaels and Angle at 21 was my favorite before that.
Yes.
And before that, it was Perfect and Brett at SummerSlam 91.
Can't argue with any of that.
And I don't know that Sasha and Bailey was actually a better wrestling match than any of those three. Like if you watch those matches one after the other with no context of any storylines,
Right.
it's probably not the best one. It's like number 2 or 3. But when you bring in the storyline of it and the characters, that's my favorite match of all time.
The story that was
It was
told
incredible.
between
It was
those
incredible.
two.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And being given that freedom to actually have an angle and a
Mm-hmm.
story and a match, incredible. You go back and watch it now, it stands up 100%.
Yeah.
It goes way past the lingerie bathroom, because to me, women's matches, like I cared so much about wrestling, being a Brutus Barber Beefcake fan, Ultimate Warrior fan, growing up watching wrestling. I wanted this for the women, and Scott introduced me to NXT, and I'm like, dude,
Here it is.
these chicks are bomb.
Yeah.
Like, I want to watch. I mean, I was a Trish Stratus fan. She retired. I didn't want to watch after she retired. I didn't want to. I mean, to be honest, I didn't want to watch wrestling anymore because that was my Lita, Trish, 90s wrestling was my shit.
And NXT
That's why you
brought
were
back.
looking. That's
and
why.
NXT
That's why.
brought me back because I saw Charlotte.
Yeah.
This Charlotte, I don't care. Anybody who doesn't like
You
Charlotte,
can fuck off.
You guys cannot
Here we
like,
go.
You guys cannot like Charlotte. You guys cannot like Bailey. You guys, I mean, I know you guys are Becky fans, but you know what?
No, I love Bailey. I like
Sasha. Dude, these 4 women, the 4 horsewomen, I don't give a fuck. 4 horsewomen brought me back. Like this, I want women's wrestling to hit so hard because growing up,
But I think it
I
already.
want
think
this.
it has.
It has.
it
I
has,
mean,
it
yeah,
has, it has.
but has it peaked?
100%.
Has it
I
peaked? They
don't
just main
think it's
evented.
peaked.
I don't know how you get better than main
I don't
eventing
think it's
WrestleMania is the
peaked.
biggest.
I don't think it's
you-
peaked.
You know what I think? I mean,
I don't think
as
it's peaked.
A person, I would like to hear a tiny bit about, which I'm sure our listeners will too, is your guys' daughter.
I
And-
was going to bring that up
Yeah,
when we
I'm
kind of
gonna-
finished
Hey,
our
it
round.
ain't
really
peaked
think-
until you hear this.
No, I mean, because we're
my
talking about
child.
the women's revolution, and my best friends, Scott and Shannon, who are clearly talking right now,
Mark.
their daughter Peyton
Son.
is 10, and all she wants to do is be a wrestler, and her mom is ghetto as fuck and like cuts hella promos, so I'm pretty sure she's gonna be amazing. And I mean, just like, yeah, Scott, can you speak a little bit to that?
Well, yeah, 100%. So if she grew up in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s, there is no chance that she would ever aspire to be a women's wrestler. The difference is, after 2010, the game changed, and now my youngest daughter is actually looking at these women as role models and saying, that's something that I want to do. And I'll tell you, this is kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit to my other podcast,
So
Fully Posable.
good,
I was
yeah.
on the Toys That Made Us, and the women's revolution subject came up, and I said those exact same words. And the women's revolution was such a part of that show. and they wanted people to speak on that subject. And that's what I told them, that if my daughter grew up in any other generation of a wrestling fan, she wouldn't want to be a women's wrestler. But these women have provided themselves as such great role models to people watching that little girls want to grow up to be Bailey. They want to grow up to be Charlotte or Becky or Sasha. They want that. There were no kids really growing up that wanted to be Wendy Richter or
Well,
Fabulous Moolah.
Women.
Or-
in this women period, they wanted to be dudes wanted to be Ultimate Warrior. Dudes wanted to be Macho Man Randy Savage.
There have always been role models for boys
I never wanted to be the Ultimate Warrior.
or
You
kids
wanted
watching.
to be Wendy Richter.
I wanted to be Outlaw Ron Bass.
I wanted to be Captain Lou. So
Yeah, because they could eat anything they wanted.
exactly.
You're like,
Yeah.
I wanted a screw job.
But it's awesome to see my 10-year-old wanting to be a women's wrestler and knowing that that can actually happen for her because of the doors that have been opened by the Four Horsewomen and by the Bellas and by Natalia and by Beth Phoenix and Trish Stratus and Lita, these women that started paving that road. And let's not forget Mickie James, too. These women paved the road for this next generation of women wrestlers. And I don't know which wrestling academy she's going to attend.
Well, not
But-
anymore.
Well, it won't be Lance Storm, unfortunately, as we had kind of pegged for her.
We were still planning that, you guys. We were already planning that.
We had a Canadian road trip planned, the whole bit.
Yes.
If you don't know my child can cut a promo like nobody's
Oh,
business.
she will kick your ass for real.
Yeah, she's a spitting image of Shannon, no doubt about it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just great to know that these women have made such great role models of themselves, and I know that none of them are listening, but you guys need to know that these young kids are watching these women and going, I want to do that one day. That wouldn't have happened in the 80s
Nope.
or the 90s
Nope.
or the 2000s. The
Nope.
Four Horsewomen opened that door for these young women today.
How do we get any of those Four Horsewomen to listen to this podcast? Because I think they'll be.
Our listeners
them.
need to tweet them.
All right.
Tweet them.
I
Yeah,
will
please tweet this to
so
them.
hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no influence.
You know
at
who?
all.
Sasha would love this, dude. Sasha's such a
Oh my
mark.
god. No, Sasha. I love Sasha. Sasha makes
anyway,
me mad.
We saw her in and out one time.
Anyway,
I think we got like one more topic to
no,
cover.
I mean, I
The decade?
think we're kind of wrapping it up. So again, thank you for listening to this extended
Well,
version
no, we
of
had
Drag
one more
Wrestling History.
thing to cover, right?
Yeah, I said we're wrapping it up.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
And
Sorry.
thank you for
You're the host.
listening to this extended. I literally was just saying that.
I know.
The extends
Thank you
version of.
for extended version. No, he interrupted me.
Your hair looks beautiful.
No, I look
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank
Can I just say something before we cut off? Carissa, this was your first show as host.
I love her.
Shannon, this was your first show as co-host.
I did nothing.
Co-host.
I
No, you
contributed
did.
nothing.
You totally did.
No, I think you guys did an incredible job.
Thank you.
And thank you for filling in on this San Diego experience/experiment.
He's right. You guys did a great
I-
job. You slammed your glass down too hard, and you tipped the vape pen over too many fucking times on the table.
Okay.
But
But other
let's
than that, it
talk
was good.
about how beautiful your fucking wife looks.
I know,
dude.
I know.
Well,
I'm gonna hit that
you're
later.
gonna hear this several other times because this is not.
She knows so much.
I'm pretty sure you guys know how we record now. We can't just get drunk and record every week.
Can I
So
say something?
if you
You
say
know
that,
so much.
Shannon, if you say that, you know everyone can
Okay.
hear it.
She drinks and she
Sorry.
knows things.
I said raise your hand silently. So, yeah, so, I mean, you clearly know that this is going to be, so you're going to be hearing this for several more episodes. We're going to do the San Diego
7.
Experiment. San Diego experiment.
For several more episodes, because we have to record multiple at a time because we're not that drunk. I mean,
Because
we're
you're awesome.
definitely fucked up, but we don't drink that much. So we have to kind of condense it. Also, our schedules.
Plus, we brought all this shit to San Diego.
Yeah,
We're
also.
not gonna fucking waste it.
Fuck it, yeah.
Exactly.
So, to finish off this amazing episode, which thank you for sticking with us, we are going to do worst of the decade and then best of the decade.
I'm gonna start. I'll
So
jump
let's
right
start,
in.
Let's start with worst.
I'll jump right in on worst of the decade. Worst of the decade is Alberto Del Rio.
Oh,
At the strip club.
at the
Fi-
strip club.
No.
Not
Alberto,
at the strip club.
no, Alberto Del
That'd be his
Rio.
best.
At the strip club.
Okay.
And
Do you want to make the joke again, Shannon?
no, that's it.
Okay. I mean, 'cause
That's it.
things are usually funnier the fifth time. No, Alberto Del Rio
too.
fighting
Tito Ortiz.
Tito Ortiz in an MMA fight for a
What the hell
WWE
was that?
for a WWE belt, right?
What the fuck?
Did we confirm that was a belt that?
I
First
think
of all,
it was a toy belt that they bought.
right.
it.
What, I mean, do we know if that was a replica belt or was that like because you know how if you win a belt they give you a copy of the belt?
Yes.
Was that a belt that he actually had? Because that was a spinner belt.
Right, and I would imagine as soon as they got back to the locker room, it went right back to Del Rio. I mean, the guy's got to sell it at some point.
What a
for funds,
fucking
right?
joke! I mean, first of all, you got like a fucking never was from WWE fighting some dude who's named after the worst of the Jackson 5,
Wow.
right?
I thought it was Jermaine, but you can go with Tito.
Yeah, and he's like, they're fighting over a belt that is fake. It doesn't even matter. I don't get it.
That was
dude.
your worst?
That's the worst thing that's ever happened. Yeah, in the last. I mean, come on, dude. Like Tito Ortiz, he's a fucking joke. Like he was a big deal 15 years ago before he married Jenna Jameson and beat her up.
That was his peak.
You know what
that
you?
was that guy?
Hey,
That was
Yeah.
that guy?
Yeah.
Hey, you
That
know?
was Jenna Jameson's husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew that
X,
guy.
yes.
Do you know? Hey, do you know what you tell Jenna Jameson with two black eyes?
No, what?
Nothing. You already told her twice.
Shut up. Terrible. Terrible.
Oh!
Terrible.
But that was. I mean, come on.
So my worst, and I mean, I hate to pull from recent events.
Go ahead.
But I'm having a hard time finding something worse than what's going on right now with Lashley, Lana, and Rusev. Ugh. I mean, the best thing that can happen from all of this is Rusev Day returns with a vengeance, and Rusev gets a massive, massive push / title run, something to reward this guy for this god awful angle that is being fucking shoved down our throats week after week that obviously nobody's enjoying. Here's the bad part. Here's the bad part. My youngest tends to follow a lot of WWE through Instagram. That's how she kind of stays on top of all of
Hang
it.
on a second. Can you guys go open and close the refrigerator one more time, please?
Yes, we would enjoy that.
And get some ice out or something? Fucking, like,
We apologize profusely.
But look, this is a drinking podcast.
Oh.
It's yours and my job to cover.
Yeah, I did want to apologize earlier for some coughing, like everybody else in the fucking United States. We've been sick for like 2 months.
no, I know, me too. Yeah, no, I've been coughing
So,
since like October.
but yes, we also apologize for the refrigerator and the pouring of drinks. But I mean, like, isn't that what you guys want?
Okay.
That's true. All right, go ahead. Get back to Lana and Russo, please.
Oh God.
It's my pick for worst of the decade
Okay.
because I'm having a hard time remembering anything worse. Aside from in 2015 when WWE booked themselves into a corner and had to have Sheamus win the World Heavyweight Championship
Well, that was,
when Roman Reigns was
That was awesome.
injured.
so much better than what's happening right now.
Exactly. That was the worst thing I can remember, but this is so much fucking worse. Like,
Someone on Twitter that night said WWE just did the worst possible thing twice.
yeah, exactly. Yes. I'm having a hard time finding anything worse than that current angle.
No,
And again,
it's so bad.
I agree.
It's the worst.
it is. And the best payoff is that Rusev gets some sort of title run. Rusev Day comes back with a vengeance.
But he could have had that without us.
It didn't
being
need this.
tortured.
No.
Yes.
Best case scenario, Bobby Lashley fails 3 wellness checks.
Boom.
Boom.
So that's my pick for worst.
Okay.
And I have an easy
My-
one for best.
My thing is, I'm sorry. Why does she just has to keep pointing out that he's so hot? Because he's like, I mean, his head does not look right on his body.
You said his head looked
Wait.
like someone changed the head on an action
His
figure.
no
head looks like
eyebrows.
someone changed his head on an action figure and put like a child's head on like a regular person's.
He
like
has no eyebrows.
A wrestling head, you know.
He has no
That's
eyebrows.
what he looks like. And then Lana's like, "Oh, my hot
Can I help him?
boyfriend."
Can I
It's
help
like,
him?
no, your boyfriend is the least hot person I've ever seen in my life.
Can I help him?
Okay.
No, oh my god, no.
You can do some eyebrow, Shannon.
So I think we should close out with the best thing of the decade,
Yes.
which
but
is
are you actually the best thing of the decade or the other thing?
The other thing.
I don't know. I don't know what's what.
I think you guys should do the best things of the decade. What?
Well, I already said my favorite match.
Oh, okay, you guys already did that.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think we sort of hit that right.
My favorite thing of the decade easily is WWE Network.
Okay.
As a fan,
Yeah.
since the mid '80s, as we discussed in our first episode, how great is it that you can take your lunch break and go on WWE Network and
No,
watch WrestleMania 2?
That's all he does at work.
Yeah,
I swear.
me too.
4. WrestleMania 4.
WrestleMania 4 is the best ever. We've discussed this.
Right. We did a whole episode on it.
As a fan,
Yes.
and for only $10 a month, it's the best $10 a month that I have ever spent.
Wait, how much is that?
I'm sorry, $9.99.
Okay.
It
I'll-
is such a gift as a fan to
I'll
have
tell-
the network.
I'll tell you what I think is the best thing of this decade. This podcast.
What?
Right?
Agreed, my friend. Agreed.
Right? This is the greatest thing that's happened in the
Well,
last
I have
decade, right?
something else to
It's
say.
I'll-
tied with another podcast.
I have something else to say.
Go ahead.
I think that definitely this podcast is one of the best things of the decade. But one of the other best things of the decade is your co-host podcast, which is totally blanking. I'm really drunk, you guys.
Totally blanking. That's the name of
The Fully Pausable Wrestling Figure Pause
Fully
podcast.
pausable wrestling podcast.
Thank you.
And also, they were on, you guys, they were on TV.
Yes.
They were on Netflix show, The Toys That Made Us, which is so incredible. It was just so exciting to see like people that you know on TV, which is so stupid, but it was amazing.
Thank you,
And they
Carissa.
did such an amazing job. And actually, that episode was really cool.
It was. And,
Even if you're not into figures.
they had a big
'Cause
story
I'm
to tell.
not, you know, like I'm not that into figures, but it was very interesting. It was really cool. I would so recommend watching that.
Thank you. And it was a massive accomplishment just for two kids that grew up collecting them, that don't have any ties to WWE or anybody really, just started a podcast in 2016
Yeah,
and talked about
totally.
wrestling figures and were chosen by the Toys That Made Us to be on their episode. So thank you for recognizing that. It was a
and then-
massive
so that
accomplishment.
Is, the co-host of this episode, Scott, and then his actual brother, Jeff. They have the other podcast.
Not a Storyline brother.
Not a
Storyline.
Storyline brother. Oh my god. So blinking again.
It
so
happens.
drunk.
Fully posable.
Fully possible. Go subscribe.
Thank you. Yeah, and if you haven't watched that Netflix episode yet, it's on season 3. It's the wrestling
It's
episode.
really good,
It
you
tells a
guys.
great story, and they
Yeah.
had to really condense what is a story from 1984 to current day into 45 minutes. A tall order for anybody to do, especially given how many federations have come and gone over the years, how many toy companies that the wrestling figure license have changed hands with. They had to tell a massive story in 45 minutes. They did a tremendous job, and the fact that Jeff and I were included in 45 minutes, hashtag blessed.
It was really good.
Incredible.
Like, no, I
Hashtag
don't
marks.
give a
Hashtag
fuck
peaked.
about wrestling toys, and I enjoyed it immensely.
It was cool.
Thank you, Chris. That's why I love you
Immensely.
best.
Yeah. But
So
before
funny.
we go, I just want to put over this podcast,
Let's do that.
right? So we
No,
hit a
I
big,
mean, I think this is the greatest thing that happened in the decade.
absolutely. So we hit a big number today, right? We hit 600 downloads,
Plus
which
600 plus.
yeah,
Yes!
we're last time I
After
checked.
that, let's drink.
Salud.
Cheers!
Last time I
I
checked, we
won't
were
slam my shit down on it. Okay.
God damn it, Sean.
last time I checked, we were at 603.
7.
Yeah, we'll probably hit a few more over the weekend. So like, it's going better than I could have expected. I've been overwhelmed by the numbers. I expected to be whelmed at best.
Well, not overwhelmed.
Right.
I thought you guys would have this like little
thought
jokey
they
podcast,
had-
and then we could like let it go after like. A
Yeah, but
month.
it's been going well, and we've gotten
But
great
now I have
feedback.
to deal with it for the rest of my fucking life. I
I
think.
thought,
Now
I
you're
thought
sucked
they
in.
had-
Yeah, I'm sucked.
It's been going well. We've gotten great feedback. I just want to say, like, thank you to everyone who's tweeted us, everyone who's tweeted about us. I appreciate everyone who's tweeted to us, saying how much you like the show. We especially appreciate the people who tweet about us, so we show up on other people's timelines. You guys are awesome. Like, the only reason we've gotten this many downloads this fast is because of you guys. There are a handful of people who've interacted with us a lot. One in particular is DJ, who on Twitter is at I'll spell it DJMGGOT1. I guess it's DJ Maggot. Is he Maggot?
Yes.
Maggots.
He's also.
Oh, that's my favorite fucking
God.
Yeah,
War
but
song.
but this guy is like, he tweeted the other day something like, I'm sure they're annoyed with how much I'm putting them over. And I was like, no, please.
No, we're not annoyed at all.
That never
Please
gets old.
continue that
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, by all means.
TJ Maggot apparently.
But
Maggots.
yeah, and I'll be honest,
You are.
it's good for the ego, right? When you when you wake up and you look at your downloads, like you wake up and
It's
you're
humbling, dude.
right,
It's
it is. It's
humbling.
really humbling and it's
It's not humbling for him. It's like blowing up his ego.
right. Yeah. No, it's
It's like the exact opposite of humbling in our house.
yeah, but to be real though, it's great. It's awesome. The support we've gotten from you guys is fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I loved when I get up in the morning and look through what people tweeted to me while I'm having my morning menudos.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Matunos.
Yeah, it's been great. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening. And I think it's about time to go home with this because I'm looking at the clock. We're at an hour and 40 minutes.
Is this our Master of Puppets?
No, this is our master. I did thank the fans earlier for this extended version because it was a decade in review, so that took a long time,
Yeah.
you know?
We promise we'll never go this
So
long
yeah,
again.
we promise it will never go over an hour again. Shannon, do you have something to
Carissa,
say?
can I just say,
No.
I love you.
I love you.
Dude, you're so fucking awesome, dude.
You're really hot. So, I mean,
chicka,
are we
wow,
ready to
wow.
go home?
I think we're ready to go home with this.
So we just want to say, please do follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We're at wrestling_drunk. And be sure to hit subscribe on wherever you follow us, which might be Spotify, iHeart, Radio, or iTunes. And if you like hearing a bunch of drunk idiots talk about wrestling, please do leave us a review wherever you listen.
Subliminal message.
Oh my god, I totally already said subscribe, you guys. Do it. Please subscribe. And then also, please leave a review wherever you listen. It does really help. But the most helpful thing to do is to tell us about your friends. And
No, tell your friends about us.
did I just say tell us about your friends?
Yeah, but I'd like to know about their friends as well.
Well, that is what happens when you drink when you're doing this.
Yes.
So, I mean, I feel like it didn't turn into quite the shit show I expected. I think that was the only thing.
We've done worse.
Yeah, we've done worse. So, enjoy your buzz, watch wrestling responsibly, and remember, drink like nobody's watching. Cheers!
Cheers.
I'm gonna jack it where the sun always shines. He's gonna jack it. Been spreading the word and now I need to ease my mind. Jacking it home. Been planting them apple seeds and while the apples grow, I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jack. Spanking it, jacking it, spanking it, smack. I don't need no shirt, no. Gonna take them pants right off. He's about to jack it. On such a bright day, who needs underwear or socks? Jack it, jack it, ho. Been around God's country, and there's one thing I know. There's no better place for jacking it than San Diego. Jack it, jack it, jacking it, jack. Spanking it, spanking it, smacking it, smack. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jack. Jacking it, spanking it, spanking it, smack. Come to San Diego, there's so much to see. From the sparkling waters of Mission Bay to the warm tortillas of Old Town. And after a day of sightseeing, why not try spanking it in one of our charming city streets? San Diego, come, take a load off. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jack. Spanking it, smacking it, smack. A whacking it, whacking it, whacking it, whack. Spanking it, jerking it, smacking it, smack. The cars are passing me by, they honk and say hello. Hey, that guy's jacking. From his window, there's a guy shooting video of him jacking. And if the good Lord Jesus comes knocking on my door, just tell him that I'm jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jack. Spanking it, spanking it, smacking it, smack. He's about to jack it. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it. Whacking, whacking, spank, whack, spanking it, whack. Look at me, I'm jacking it. Jacking, jack, whacking it, whacking. Spank, spank, whacking, whack, stacking it. He's about to jack it. San Diego, jack, jack, whacking it, whacking, whacking, San Diego. Whacking it, whack. Keep on San Diego, jack, jack, jacking it. San Diego, whacking, whack, whacking it, jack. Jacking it, whacking,